Chapter 9:12. The doors of the Talisman Sect's main hall were wide open. Lin Rei's figure appeared at the entrance of the hall with a mocking expression on his face. It was as if he had seen something interesting. Lin Rei raised his head and looked at the 3 words Qian de Hall that were hanging above his head. The scale and style of his own palace appeared clearly in his mind. This lousy palace is known as the Talisman Sect, one of the 7 sections. Aren't you afraid of losing face if word of this gets out? If the former sect master of the Talisman Sect, Xuanfeng, heard these words, he would probably be angered to death. What was a lousy palace? In his eyes, this was already the best. Of course, this was in the eyes of Xuanfeng and the others. In Lin Rei's eyes, this was at most a lousy palace. If he were to really compare it to the Xuanzong sect was a magnificent palace, while this was at most a slightly better doghouse. After all, there was no way to compare it. The main hall of the Xuanzong sect was formed by a set of formations. Moreover, every palace came from the system. Forget it. In any case, I am only going to be the sect master of the Talisman Sect for a while. I will just pass it to them after completing the mission. A disappointed expression flashed across his face. He sighed and stopped thinking about it. He strode into the main hall and felt the subtle atmosphere of the main hall. Oh, I didn't expect that there would be a high-level spirit-gathering formation set up here. Not bad. The moment Lin Rei stepped into the palace, he sensed that the spirit energy density inside the palace was not on the same level as outside the palace. If the spirit energy density outside was 1, then the spirit energy density inside the palace was 6. Although there was not much difference, it was already quite good in the eyes of the Talisman Sect's disciples, sect master and elders. Of course, Lin Rei, who had become a first-grade Saint-grade array master, was quite sensitive to formations. Especially after he had made a breakthrough, he could sense the existence of a formation the moment he entered this place. However, in Lin Rei's eyes, this array was simply full of loopholes. It couldn't even withstand a single blow. To put it nicely, it was because the skill wasn't good enough. To put it bluntly, it was just a piece of junk that couldn't enter his eyes. Lin Rei frowned as he strolled around the Great Hall and looked at everything that was not going his way. I don't know what the system is thinking. Why did it insist on making me the sect master of the Talisman Sect? Moreover, it even gave me such a mission. Seriously. Lin Rei couldn't help but complain to the system in his heart. If it weren't for the system, he wouldn't even be here in the first place. Moreover, with his current attainments in the Tao of Talismans, even the entire Talisman Sect couldn't compare to him. Lin Rei complained as he slowly walked to the sect master's seat with a dissatisfied mood. He looked at the seat that was made of pure gold and sneered. His expression was filled with disdain. The brother who created this sect master's seat is really greedy. I didn't expect him to use gold as a seat. Seriously. Lin Rei looked at the golden seat and couldn't imagine how greedy the founder of the Talisman Sect was to be able to use it to such an extent. However, it was fine as long as there was a seat. Although he sneered in his heart, he still sat on it. Moreover, he had to admit that it was quite comfortable to sit on it. Tsk. What a luxury. A seat made of gold. If this was on Aqua Blue Planet, it would have been stolen countless times. It's hard to say if such a seat would even exist. Lin Rei couldn't help but think of the planet where he was born. Time passed bit by bit. There was no one in the palace. Perhaps it was because it was still early, or perhaps it was because there were other matters. In any case, apart from Lin Rei, no one else appeared in the hall. Perhaps it was because he had waited for a long time. Lin Rei leaned against the sect master's seat for some reason. He supported his chin with his hand and closed his eyes to sleep. Not far from the Qianda Hall, Old Ghost and the other 2 were walking slowly towards the hall while chatting and laughing. The 3 of them were smiling as if they had encountered something happy. Old Ghost, can we obtain the space Tao this time? Chun Fan asked Old Ghost. "TSK, Old Ghost. TSK, we don't know for sure, but we can't be careless. After all, he cultivated the way of space with the Taofather, and he's the origin of ways himself, so his cultivation definitely won't be weak. Although we're all saints with Tao fruits, we're basically bottom-tier existences among saints in the saints' world. As a result, it's best to be careful." "Haha, Old Chin, I never thought you would be so afraid of death." Old Ghost laughed aloud at Old Chin. However, as he laughed, he agreed with Old Chin very much. He felt that Old Chin was right. The origin of the Great Tao was the origin of power in the first place. They were uncertain whether the Space Tao would still be as powerful as before. If it was, they would only be able to serve as a snack for the origin of the Great Tao at most. Moreover, they did not believe that they would risk their lives for something that was completely useless to them. Forget it. Let's talk about this later. Although someone reported that they might have discovered traces of the origin of the Space Tao, they didn't clearly state that they had found it, so there's no need to be nervous. Yeah, that's right. Old Ghost and Old Chin smiled in agreement when they heard what Chin Fan had said. However, as the three of them spoke, they had already arrived at the entrance of the Great Hall. However, the moment the three of them stepped out of the Great Hall, their gazes simultaneously landed on Linley, who was sleeping soundly on the sect leader's seat. Looking at the young man who suddenly appeared, everyone exchanged glances. When they noticed the puzzled look on each other's face, they were taken aback and an unknown anger instantly filled their bodies. It was especially so for Old Ghost, who had a violent temper. Now that he saw a young man of unknown origin sleeping on the sect master's seat, how could he tolerate it? "Bastard kid, you're actually sleeping on that seat. You're courting death, do you know that?" "Yeah, you're still ignoring me. Are you courting death?" Seeing that Lin Ray, who was sleeping soundly on the sect master's seat, didn't pay any attention to him, didn't even look at him with his divine senses or lift his eyelids, Old Ghost was instantly enraged and a murderous aura rushed out of his body uncontrollably. "Don't, Old Ghost. Don't be rash. Let's take a look first." At that moment, seeing Old Ghost's murderous aura, Old Ghost reacted quickly and pulled him back. "What's there to see? That guy dares to ignore me and sit on that seat. You can tolerate it, but I can't. Hey, can you stop pulling me?" Seeing that Old Chin didn't let go, Old Ghost finally nodded helplessly. "Okay, I won't go. I won't go. Let me go." You really won't go?" Seeing Old Ghost compromise so clearly, Old Chin was stunned for a moment. Normally, Old Ghost wouldn't compromise so easily. "Really?" Old Ghost couldn't help but roll his eyes when he saw Old Chin's doubt. Then he continued, "Look at my sincere little eyes. How could I lie to you?" F***ck. Seeing Old Ghost like this, Old Chin couldn't help but laugh and scold him. Then he reached out his hand as if he trusted him. "Humph, I said I won't do anything, but it doesn't mean I won't go up and teach him a lesson. Damn it, you dare to sleep on my seat. I think you don't want to live anymore." The moment he was released, Old Ghost's figure turned into a set of flowing light and appeared in front of Lin Ray in the blink of an eye. "Bastard brat, you slept so soundly. Since that's the case, then sleep forever." After saying that, a trace of killing intent flashed past. Then he raised his hand and circulated his cultivation technique. Spirit chi condensed in his hand and 50% of his strength slammed down on Lin Ray's head from top to bottom. Whoosh! Suddenly, Linley, who was in deep sleep, sensed danger approaching. His technique automatically activated, and he instinctively teleported away, disappearing from the seat he was sitting on. Bang! Gotcha! The moment Lin Ray's figure disappeared, Old Ghost didn't come back to his senses. He couldn't retract the power in his hand and directly slammed it on the Sect Master's seat. Suddenly, the golden Sect Master's throne that was originally made of gold cracked under the destruction of Old Ghost's 50% strength. The place where he slammed it directly turned into powder and scattered on the ground. All of this happened in an instant. So many things happened in an instant. Old Chen wanted to stop it, but he found that it had already happened. At this moment, Lin Rei, who was standing in the distance, had already woken up from his sleep. After coming back to his senses, he looked at Old Ghost and the two people in the distance. Looking at them, Lin Rei's heart surged with killing intent, especially towards Old Ghost. That killing intent was extremely dense. You wanted to kill me just now? Turning his head, his gaze fell on Old Ghost's body and he asked with an interrogative tone. That's right. So what if I did? Old Ghost was stunned at Lin Rei's question. Then, he straightened his back and said, So what if I did? However, Old Ghost didn't know that he was already on Lin Rei's must-kill list. Thinking about the scene just now, he couldn't help but break out in a cold sweat. If he was a bit slower, his head would have already turned into powder and he would have died. Thinking to there, Lin Rei's desire to kill the person in front of him became even stronger. Looking at Old Ghost, Lin Rei asked, Why do you want to kill me? I don't think we know each other. Right now, Lin Rei wanted to know why Old Ghost wanted to kill him. If he couldn't figure this out, he wouldn't be able to do anything else. Hearing this question, even though Old Ghost felt somewhat displeased, he still understood, because you sat on my seat and slept on my seat. This is unforgivable, so, because of this you want to kill me and you want to kill me while I'm asleep? Lin Rei cut him off before Old Ghost could finish speaking. Hearing that the young man in front of him was so accurate, Old Ghost felt quite surprised. After recovering, he coldly laughed. That's right. Haha, very good, very good. Hearing Old Ghost's explanation, Lin Rei was stunned. Then, instead of getting angry, he laughed. However, this smile was indeed frightening to the three old men. Even Old Ghost, who was closest to Lin Rei, felt that the moment Lin Rei laughed, the surrounding air suddenly became quiet and the temperature dropped to freezing point. Looking at Old Ghost, Lin Rei already had a conclusion in his heart. However, he didn't delve into it. Instead, he changed the topic. Looking at the three old men, he asked, You're Ling Bai's seniors or accomplices, right? He's from the same sect as Su Ziqing. Hearing Lin Rei's question, Old Third was stunned and subconsciously nodded. Yes, that's good. Hearing the three old men's response, Lin Rei smiled. Since they were all here, he didn't have to search for them one by one. Looking at them, Lin Rei no longer had the good-natured smile from before. Instead, his expression became extremely solemn. The reason I'm here today is mainly to say that I've taken a fancy to the position of the sect master of the Talisman sect. Therefore, please step aside. Is that all right? What? This brat, hearing those words, the three old men's expressions suddenly became ugly. Old Ghost's expression became extremely gloomy. Originally, he thought that Ling Chen was just going to sleep again. However, it would appear that this matter wasn't that simple. You've heard correctly. Seeing the three old men's reaction, Lin Rei smiled and said, It's exactly as you've heard. I want the position of the sect master. All of you can leave. If it could be said that he had a good discussion before, then it could be said that he had directly notified them or ordered them to leave. Looking at Lin Rei, Old Ghost spoke. Brat, do you know who you're talking to? I know, an old man. Seeing Old Ghost size him up, Ling Chen replied. You Old Ghost choked when he heard Lin Rei's words. Soon after, he said, Then tell us, why do you want us to step aside? Moreover, what qualifications do you have to make us step aside? Tell us. If your answer is good, perhaps this old man will spare your life. Oh, is that so? Lin Rei's face was filled with an amused smile as he looked at Old Ghost. However, I don't like people speaking to me in such a manner. However, since you've said so, I'll tell you. As he spoke, his figure flashed and sat down on a chair at the side. Then, he slowly said, Firstly, all of you don't belong here. Secondly, you've snatched the Talisman sect. As for the third reason, it's especially simple. It's because I need the talisman sect. Therefore, I want to become its master. After he finished speaking, his gaze landed on Old Ghost and the other two old men. Then, he gently opened his red lips and said, "How is it? Are all of you satisfied with this answer?" Not satisfied. When they saw Lin Ray's serious expression, the three old men realized that the young man before them was not joking. Instead, he was really informing them. That's right, he was informing them that they had to step aside. At this moment, the three of them could no longer remain calm. As saints, how could they endure being provoked in such a manner? You can't endure it anymore? However, I'm not here to bully everyone. As the saying goes, try peaceful means before resorting to force. When he saw the three old men preparing to fight, Lin Ray thought for a moment before he hurriedly said, "I'll give all of you two choices. Step aside or fight. Don't be in a hurry to answer. This choice is extremely important to all of you. So, consider carefully before you answer." There's no hurry, of course. When he saw their expressions that seemed as if they wished to eat him alive, Lin Ray had already guessed their answer. Step aside or fight. Tsk, what a lofty tone. Old Ghost sneered as he looked at Lin Ray. In his eyes, Lin Ray was merely an ant that was not even worth mentioning. Chapter 9:13. Then, let's fight. Lin Ray was already mentally prepared when he saw their disdainful and mocking expressions. After all, his cultivation base was right in front of everyone. As a saint from the holy world, it was undoubtedly harder for them to surrender to a saint than to reach the heavens. Therefore, he was already prepared to fight before he came here. However, this kind of fight was merely symbolic. After all, the system's requirement was that he could not use force to make the other party give up the position of the talisman sect's sect master. Hell, little brat, I'll let you know what it means to ask for a snub because you don't know your limits. Whoosh. Old Ghost moved with a disdainful look in his eyes. In his opinion, the person in front of him was merely an ultimate god cultivator. One move, no, half a move was enough to suppress or even kill him. However, Old Ghost did not know that he was facing Lin Ray and not those ordinary ultimate gods. If Ing Fengting appeared again, he would appear in the past. However, he was facing Lin Ray. Therefore, what he wanted to see would only become a beautiful dream in the end. Sigh. Why doesn't anyone listen to me? That was the case in the past and it's still the case now. Why do all of you have to be so despicable as to rush up here to be beaten up? Lin Ray sighed in his heart when he saw Old Ghost with a saint position rushing towards him. He was puzzled. However, he did not relax at all at this moment. If he relaxed and did not treat a saint seriously, it meant that he had already lost half of the battle. This was not only true when facing a saint but also when facing any enemy. As long as he did not use his full strength, he would be disrespecting his opponent and also himself. This was Lin Ray's usual style. No matter who he was facing, it was the same even if he was facing a divine sovereign cultivator. Come on, let me see how your cultivation base is. I hope you're not a paper tiger that will break at the slightest touch. After saying that, Lin Ray looked very serious. A terrifying battle intent instantly rushed out and filled the entire hall. Hiss, this person? The moment the two people in the distance sensed the terrifying battle intent emitted from Lin Ray's body, their expressions changed abruptly. A bad premonition surged in their hearts. This kind of premonition rarely appeared after they became sages and became outer sect elders. The last time it appeared was when the outer sect leader was fighting with an inner sect elder. However, no matter how hard they tried, they were unable to associate the battle between the two people in front of them with that battle, because there was simply no comparison between the two. Rip humble hand. In an instant Lin Ray moved. He didn't have the slightest intention of retreating in the face of the old ghost, who was rushing towards him like a ferocious beast. Instead, he had an excited look on his face as he instantly used the Shibe hand in his hand. He turned his fist into a palm and used 70% of his cultivation in an instant. However, he also used 70% of his slimming strength, because he did not want to suffer a loss because of a moment of carelessness when facing a saint. Humph, boy, I'll let you experience the power of a saint. I'll let you know that the gap between the divine realm and the saint realm is insurmountable. At this moment, Old Ghost naturally arrived in front of Lin Ray. Looking at Lin Ray, a trace of killing intent flashed past his eyes. He raised his hand and slammed it towards Lin Ray's head. What a ruthless move. He wants to take someone's life right away. He understood the power of that palm. If it was a godly god cultivator, he probably wouldn't have the ability to fight back at all. Bang! In an instant, the two moved at their maximum speed and their palms collided. Following that, the aftermath of the battle rushed out in all directions with both of them as the epicenter. The aura of the battle was indescribable. Boom. In terms of energy, the entire hall looked like it was on the verge of shattering. Not only that, the aftermath of the battle was so powerful that it rushed towards the Talisman Sect. At this moment, the elders who had never left the Talisman Sect, the former sect master, the Supreme Elder, and even Suziching, who was staying in the elite disciples' residence, were all alarmed. The moment everyone was alarmed, they immediately gave up on their cultivation and flew into the sky in a flash. They looked at the hall below from afar, but they didn't dare to get close to it because of the powerful force. What's going on? Could it be that a powerful enemy is fighting with Old Ghost and the others? Suziching guessed as he looked at the hall below. Although he didn't know what was going on, he was able to sense Old Ghost's aura. After all, they practiced the Beast Drive Sect's martial technique. Since he was young, how could he not be familiar with those martial techniques? She was also worried. Although she was resentful because of what happened before, it would be a lie to say that she wasn't worried because they were from the Beast Drive Sect. Furthermore, the current divine realm was different from the past. The people from the sacred realm had sent countless people here. It was possible that some sect or clan had come here and bumped into them. It wasn't only Suziching who was worried. Xuanfeng was also worried. However, the difference was that he wanted to see such a scene very much. He was even secretly excited because of it. In fact, he was confident that both sides would suffer in the past, or that Old Ghost and the others would be defeated. Due to the fact that his position as sect master was taken away, he had already developed resentment towards Old Ghost and the others. However, due to the fact that they were too powerful, he could only think about it in his heart. However, it was different now. Lin Ray, Old Ghost and the others didn't know what everyone was thinking. Moreover, they couldn't care less about it at this moment. How is this possible? How can you withstand my power? Old Ghost was shocked. His words were filled with shock and fear. At this moment, inside the palace, Lin Ray and Old Ghost collided. However, what made Old Ghost panic was that his power couldn't kill a godly venerable ant. He couldn't even push him back. This made Old Ghost and Old Chen, who were watching the battle from afar, extremely shocked. Obviously, they didn't expect such a scene. In contrast, Lin Ray was full of smiles as he looked at Old Ghost in front of him. Looking at the shock on Old Ghost's face, he found it funny. Old man, is this all you can do? Didn't you say that you wanted to teach me a lesson? You even wanted to kill me? What's wrong? Now you're old. You can't fight anymore? Or did you find your conscience? Your conscience is acting up and you can't bear to kill me. At this moment, Old Ghost's face was extremely ugly and could even be said to be ferocious. Especially when he heard Lin Ray's words just now. He knew that Lin Ray said these words to humiliate him. Come, continue. Let me see the strength of your beast-driving sect. Oh right, aren't you from the beast-driving sect? Didn't you say that all the cultivators of the beast-driving sect have war beasts? Where's the war beast? Where is the war beast? Take it out for a walk. As he spoke, Lin Ray didn't forget to turn his head and look around symbolically. However, his actions completely angered Old Ghost. Suddenly, the killing intent in his heart rose to the extreme. Boy, since you enjoy it so much, then this old man will satisfy your request. Didn't you want to see this old man's war beast? Okay, I'll let you see it. After that, Old Ghost instantly retreated dozens of steps. Then, he clasped his hands together and made a strange gesture. Suddenly, a burst of incomprehensible incantation came out of Old Ghost's mouth. Oh, just putting on an act. He didn't stop him. What he said before was true. He really did want to see what Old Ghost's war beast looked like. He even wanted to get his hands on this secret technique and put it in the Xuanzong Sect's library for future generations to read and practice. Boy, enough is enough, okay? Remember your mission and the mission's restrictions. You can't use force to solve it. If you violate it, you know the system's punishment. However, at this moment, the little dragon's reminder came. Its voice was full of urging. This I know. I just want to see what their war beast looks like, and, after saying that, a strange smile appeared on his face. Suddenly, in the system, the little dragon saw Lin Ray's expression and instantly muttered in its heart. He must be up to no good. The beast-driving Sect's technique is not bad. It can subdue war beasts. I definitely heard that this technique is special, and I want to put it in the Xuanzong Sect's library, so, you want to get it from them, right? Yes. He didn't refute because that was what he thought. Sigh. After hearing Lin Ray's response, the little dragon sighed and continued, Actually, your idea is quite good, and I like it very much. However, the most important thing for you now is to complete the mission. Then, you can do whatever you want, even if you want to kill them, because this is no longer under the system's control. After hearing this, Lin Ray suddenly fell silent. Seeing Lin Ray's silence, the little dragon didn't say anything and chose to leave. Suddenly, a beast roar was heard. It was so loud that the entire Talisman Sect could hear the anger and agitation in the beast's roar clearly. The moment the beast roared, Lin Ray, who was silent, was awakened. He raised his head and made a decision. He agreed with the little dragon's words. The most important thing now was to complete the mission. As for the rest, it wouldn't be too late to do it later. At this thought, a strange smile appeared on his face. Then, without looking at Old Ghost, he turned around and disappeared from the palace in a flash. Kid, where are you going? Seeing Linley's figure disappear, Old Ghost was overjoyed. In his heart, he thought that Linley was afraid, so he ran away. So the moment he saw Linley's figure disappear, he ordered his war beast to chase outside. Old Ghost, don't. Old Shen felt that something was amiss. Just as he was about to tell them not to chase, he realized that it was too late. At this moment, Old Ghost and his battle beast were nowhere to be seen in the palace. Well done, you've got guts to chase after me. Seems like I'll have to treat you well after the mission is completed. Sensing the relentless pursuit of Old Ghost and his battle beast, Lin Ray let out a disdainful smile, arrived at the palace, and stood on an empty ground. Ignoring Old Ghost and his battle beast, who were chasing after him, he ordered the system, activate the sealing spell. Ding, yes. Ding, please select the range and lock the area. There's such a thing? Hearing the system's prompt, Lin Ray was stunned for a moment before he came back to his senses. Looking up at his surroundings, he curled his lips and said, The entire Talisman Sect is shrouded in the sealing spell. Ding, okay, the sealing spell will be set up for 1 minute. Please wait for a moment. Hearing the system's words, Lin Ray nodded without hesitation. Okay, you set it up. I'll play with this old guy first. After saying that, Lin Ray ignored the system and looked at Old Ghost and his battle beast, who were chasing after him. Lin Ray had long known about the person in the sky and could see him clearly. Sometimes he even knew that Su Ziqing had arrived long ago. However, he was now on the opposite side and didn't really like her, so what's wrong with him? Why would he and Old Ghost? Could it be that the aftermath of the battle just now was him? The moment she saw that the person who came out was Lin Ray, Su Ziqing was stunned and her heart was filled with shock. She didn't expect that the aftermath of the battle just now was caused by Lin Ray and Old Ghost. Moreover, she didn't think in that direction at all because she couldn't figure out why they were standing together. However, Xuanfeng was the one who was more shocked at this moment. He had a deep impression of Lin Ray and had even sent someone to follow him. Feeling the battle intent and aura emitted from Lin Ray's body, his heart was filled with shock and a trace of unwillingness and jealousy. Originally, it was fine if the sage was stronger than him, but he didn't expect Lin Ray to be stronger than him, and by so much. For a moment, the more he thought about it, the more unbalanced he felt. Lin Ray didn't know about these thoughts. At this moment, his only thought was to play for 1 minute and wait for the sealing spell to be activated. Old Ghost stood still and looked at Lin Ray. A cruel look flashed across his face as he smiled and said, "Why aren't you running? Do you know that no matter how you run, you can't escape?" Looking at Old Ghost, Lin Ray's eyes revealed a hint of ridicule, as if he was looking at a fool. He didn't expect Old Ghost to have such a sense of accomplishment and be so shameless. However, Lin Ray didn't care about this. He ignored Old Ghost and looked at the war beast. Looking at him, a smile of anticipation appeared on Lin Ray's face. At this moment, the war beast standing in front of Lin Ray didn't look like a lion. It looked like a leopard, but it wasn't. However, Lin Ray could feel that its cultivation was at the great perfection of the divine venerable realm, only one step away from the sage realm. Looking at him, Lin Ray's saliva flowed out of his mouth. His eyes were blazing. Lin Ray was very envious of such a war beast, especially when it was in his mouth. Thinking about it, Lin Ray was very excited, especially when he thought of the overflowing oil and fragrance when the war beast in front of him was roasted on the fire. Oh my God, I can't think about it anymore. The more he thought about it, the more Lin Ray had the urge to eat it now. However, he must not complete the mission and still be the master. However, Old Ghost had seen Lin Ray's actions and appearance just now. Looking at Lin Ray, he inexplicably began to worry about his war beast. Especially when he saw the sparkling saliva at the corner of Lin Ray's mouth. He was stunned on the spot. Little beast, be good. Endure for a while more. Just a while more and you will be able to cheer on the grill. Just a while more and you will be able to do good deeds and save lives. Endure for a while more. Chapter 9:14. As he spoke, Lin Ray extended his claw-like hand towards Old Ghost's battle beast. Retreat now, swoosh. Upon hearing this, the battle beast quivered. It turned around and leaped out of Lin Ray's reach. The one who spoke was none other than the battle beast's master, Old Ghost. He loved his battle beast very much. Besides, it wasn't easy to develop feelings for such a battle beast. He didn't want his battle beast to lose its life because of a moment of carelessness. As such, in his opinion, the gains did not make up for the losses. With a single glance, he could tell that it was a losing deal. What are you afraid of? Lin Ray was stunned when he saw the battle beast fleeing. Then, a cold smile appeared on his face. Come, I won't eat you. Everyone was stunned when they heard Lin Ray's words. If it won't eat you, then what did you say before? Of course, they could only think about it in their hearts. They would never say it out loud, especially at such a critical juncture. Sigh, boring. Seeing that no one was speaking, Linley sighed. He raised his head to look at the sky and at Su Ziqing. Linley spoke. In his opinion, if he could avoid using the seal incantation, he would try his best not to. Since Ling Bai was Su Ziqing's subordinate, it meant that he had an extremely high status in the Beastmaster sect. At this moment, Su Ziqing also noticed Lin Rei's gaze. She was instantly puzzled. Miss Su, I don't want to fight. I also don't want to hurt our relationship. I have a suggestion. Do you agree? Su Ziqing was stunned when she heard this. Then, she asked, tell me about it first. What if this matter is disadvantageous to the beast-driving sect? Heh, he sneered and said, actually, it's nothing much. It's just that. As he spoke, he lowered his head and looked at Old Ghost, Old Chun and the other two in front of him. I want all of you to give up the position of sect master of the Talisman sect on your own accord. Remember, you must give it up on your own accord. In that case, I will not make things difficult for all of you. Although you are all saints from the Holy World's beast-driving sect, if you don't agree and insist on resisting, then... Killing intent flashed through his eyes. Looking at Lin Rei's murderous appearance, it seemed that if he didn't agree, he would be killed in the next moment. Thinking about it, he couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air, and his heart couldn't help but start to ponder. No, miss, you can't. If you hand it over, my Beastmaster sect will still be able to do as you please in the Saints' world. How will the other sects view my Beastmaster sect? Furthermore, Old Ghost was afraid that Su Ziqing would agree. Before Su Ziqing could say anything, he quickly added, furthermore, if the sect master was here, I hope that he would not agree with your actions. Miss, please think thrice before you act. Hearing this, Su Ziqing, who was originally pondering, revealed a conflicted expression. She then said, I'm sorry. I don't agree with your conditions. If I can make the decision, I will definitely hand the sect master of the Talisman sect over to you. However, this concerns the Beastmaster sect's reputation. If I hand it over to you, the Beastmaster sect's reputation will... I understand. Lin Rei didn't say anything else. Since the other party had already said it, it would be meaningless for him to say anything else. These 3 words directly expressed his current thoughts. Seeing Lin Rei's appearance, Su Ziqing, who still wanted to say something, choked on her words. She didn't know how to say it, and she didn't even know what to say. It seems that in the end, I still have to use the sealing formula. Lin Rei sighed. His heart ached. Using the sealing formula once every 10 years, and it didn't have any accumulation. This made Lin Rei's heart ache, and it gave him a headache. Bastards! You dare to discuss the ownership of my sect in front of this sect master? At this moment, no one noticed the gloomy and frightening resentment in the depths of Xuanfeng's eyes. Just you wait. One day, I will kill all of you. Ignorant! Lin Rei knew everything about Xuanfeng. This was especially true for the resentment in the depths of Xuanfeng's eyes. Lin Rei was able to see it with a single glance. However, Lin Rei simply couldn't care less about Xuanfeng's resentment. The reason for that was because he simply didn't care about it. Ding! Congratulations to the host. The sealing formula has been completed. The entire Talisman sect has been enveloped by the sealing formula. With just a thought from the host, the Sage Realm cultivators present will be suppressed by 1 level. Haha, this is great. I've been waiting for you. Hearing the notification from the system, Lin Rei's face was filled with smiles and excitement. After waiting for nearly 100 years, finally, this moment had arrived. At this moment, Lin Rei felt as if victory was right in front of him. He felt as if he could touch it with just a stretch of his hand. However, the crowd was extremely puzzled by Lin Rei's sudden laughter. At this moment, a bad premonition emerged in their hearts. It wasn't only Lin Rei's group of 3. Even Xuanfeng, Su Ziqing and the others in the sky had the same thought. However, this thought disappeared in an instant. To them, this uneasiness originated from Lin Rei's overwhelming strength earlier. Mysterious. As he spoke, he activated the sealing formula. Suddenly, a wretched and undetectable faint blue light that only Lin Ray could see flashed past his body. Instantly, the entire map of the Talisman Sect appeared in Lin Ray's mind. Everyone's figures, including Su Ziqing, Xuanfeng and the others in the sky, were all enveloped by the sealing formula at this moment. In an instant, strange white threads that were as thin as hair instantly emerged from the ground. Whoosh! Subsequently, the instant the white threads appeared, they rushed into the bodies of the crowd with a speed that even Lin Ray was unable to comprehend. There was no exception. Other than Lin Ray himself, there was no exception. It was for no other reason than the fact that he was the user of the sealing formula, the owner of the system. How could this be? My cultivation. Right at this moment, a cultivator in the sky who was originally quiet suddenly exclaimed in shock. He immediately activated his cultivation. However, the instant he released his cultivation only returned to half of his original cultivation. At this moment, he was dumbfounded. Amen? Cultivation? Hearing the first person's words, another person realized what was going on. When he looked inside himself and saw that his cultivation had also fallen to half of his original cultivation, he couldn't help but shout. One must know that one's cultivation determined the strength of one's cultivation. It determined the amount of time one could survive in this world, as well as one's dignity and status. Not good, at this moment, when he heard people saying that his cultivation was abnormal one after another, his heart thumped loudly. He immediately began to circulate his martial technique in an attempt to inspect the state of his cultivation. Boom! Suddenly, a bolt from the blue instantly descended upon Old Ghost's mind. Instantly, his mind went blank and his face was ghastly pale to the extreme. How could this be? My cultivation has fallen to mid-stage ultimate god cultivation. Why is this happening? This shouldn't be happening. Old Ghost, who felt that his cultivation had decreased by half, could not accept it. This is not good. My cultivation has also fallen to mid-stage ultimate god cultivation. How could this be? At this moment, apart from Lin Ray, everyone else's cultivation had decreased. It was only a matter of how much it decreased. It's you? Suddenly, Old Ghost raised his head. His face was ferocious, as if he was certain that Lin Ray was the culprit. However, Old Ghost's words attracted the attention of Old Chen and the other cultivators in the sky, including Su Ziqing. Everyone's attention was focused on Lin Ray. At this moment, Lin Ray had become the focus of everyone's attention. Hearing Old Ghost's hysterical howls, Linley turned his head to look at Su Ziqing and the others who were flying in the air above him. Seeing their current state, a smile appeared on Linley's face, as though he was watching a show. Although he knew that this was his doing. Looking at Old Ghost, Lin Ray nodded and admitted. That's right. It's me. What can you do to me? You were already no match for me when you were still a saint. Now that your cultivation has fallen to mid-stage ultimate god, what do you think you can do? Resist. Continue to kill me or surrender and be a obedient lamb. Lin Ray's words made everyone present fall into silence. Now, as long as one was not a fool, they should be clear about the current situation. Anyone with half a brain would make the choice. However, at the same time, there were also people who would lose their lives for their dignity, such as Old Ghost. Looking at the silence of the crowd, Lin Ray joked and said, Now, I'll give you one more chance. The same choice. Either you take the initiative to give me the position of Sect Lord, or I'll take your lives. Although killing you will create a lot of negative karma, but who asked you to be so ignorant? Isn't that right? Su Ziqing, who was standing in the air, was speechless. At this point, there was no room for choice. At this point, they had already become lambs, unless they didn't want to live anymore. Sir, do you mean what you say? If we give you the position of Sect Lord, will we be safe? How can you be sure that what you say is true? If you lie to us, then, do you think you can still bargain with me? Looking at old Chen in the distance, Lin Ray sneered. Now, there are only two paths before you. You can either live or die. Usually, giving up or dying is a choice between your thoughts. I hope that you will cherish this last chance. Otherwise, I can't guarantee that I won't give you a quick death. If my sword stops and I can't kill you with a single strike, then, you, demon. At this moment, everyone's bodies trembled. A chill ran down their spines, and their faces were filled with terror. Alas, there's no other way. Elder Chen, hand over the position of Sect Lord of the Talisman Sect. In this way, you will have a chance to live. Otherwise, do you think that a person who killed Ling Bai will kill all of you? In any case, he has already offended the Beast Tamer Sect. It doesn't matter if he kills more or less. What do you think? In order to prevent Old Ghost and Old Ghost from disagreeing, Su Ziqing hurriedly told them about Ling Bai. As expected. Hearing these words, Old Chen let out a long sigh. His expression was filled with understanding. It was as if he had already guessed it. I felt that it was strange before. Now we finally met. So it was this person who killed Ling Bai. No wonder. As he spoke, Old Chen looked at Old Ghost with a serious expression. Looking at Old Ghost, Old Chen sighed in the end and dissuaded him. Old Ghost, where there is life, there is hope. Now we can no longer think about it. Moreover, this talisman sect is not our sect to begin with. We only obtained it to search for two great Daos. Now 90% of the talisman sect's disciples have been sent out. It is no longer important whether this empty shell exists or not. Let them go. That's right. Hand it over, Old Ghost. There's no other way. Saving our lives is more important. All of you. Old Ghost was stunned when he saw that all his companions had agreed. Then, powerlessness surged into his heart. He understood. The moment his cultivation dropped, he understood that he had to hand over the position of Sect Lord even if he didn't want to. He couldn't bear it. Moreover, it was meaningless to him. The reason he refused was only to protect the face of the Beast Tamer sect in the Holy World and protect the face of a saint. Alas! Old Ghost sighed and nodded in the end. All right. Since cultivation is meaningless, what else do I have to say? Old Ghost raised his head and looked at Lin Ray before he said, Remember what you said earlier. I will give you the position of Sect Lord of the Talisman Sect. As he spoke, a red token suddenly appeared in Old Ghost's hand. This token was extremely simple and unadorned. Because of its color, it appeared demonic. Especially the scribbles on it, it was even more prominent. The Sect Lord's inheritance token in the distant sky. Xuanfeng's heart trembled when he saw Ling Bai in Old Ghost's hand. Then, he wanted to go forward and snatch it. However, before he could move, a hand grabbed him from behind. It was like an iron pincer that couldn't be moved. Don't act recklessly. This kind of situation isn't something that nobodies like us can interfere in. If you continue like this, our entire talisman sect will be annihilated. Are you willing to see the talisman sect being annihilated? Aye. Xuanfeng was stunned when he heard these words. His heart that originally wanted to go forward and snatch the token instantly calmed down. He turned his head around and nodded at the people behind him. I understand. However, at this moment, Xuanfeng didn't know in the slightest that his every move was being watched by Linley. Originally, he wasn't sure if the command medallion in the Old Ghost's hand was fake, but now he was sure. There was no other reason. It was all because of Xuanfeng's performance. It was because it was a real token that he was so impulsive. However, there was someone with a clear mind after he was born. Otherwise, he would have died. Pooh! Suddenly, a mouthful of scarlet blood was spat out from Old Ghost's mouth. Immediately, his originally rosy complexion turned extremely pale. Here. Old Ghost's hand trembled as he handed the red token to Lin Ray. With a trembling voice, he said, This is the Talisman Sect Lord's Inheritance Token. This is the Talisman Sect Master's Inheritance Token. As long as you refine it, everything within the Talisman Sect will be under your control. Without your permission, no one will be able to enter the library, armory and various other treasuries. Treasure vaults. Disdain was revealed on Lin Rei's face. Truth be told, he, Lin Rei, really didn't care about the things in the treasure vault. At this moment, his attention was completely focused on the red token. He extended his hand and received it. Then, he ordered the system, inspect the authenticity of this token. Ding. Okay. Host, please wait a moment. Systems inspection will begin. Chapter 9:15. Ding. Host, the token in your hand is real. Once you refine it with your blood, you will be the true sect master of the Talisman Sect. Looks like they didn't lie to me. TSK, this is a little boring. When he heard that the token was real, he felt a little disappointed. Are you a masochist? The system said rudely. You wanted it when they didn't want to give it to you. Now that they have given it to you, you don't think it's fun anymore. You can do it, young man. He wanted to refute, but this was a critical moment. Moreover, he was in a good mood after completing the mission. All right, a great person will not hold a grudge against a petty person. I am in a good mood today, so I won't argue with you. Since I can refine it with a drop of my blood, I can do it in minutes. As he spoke, a relaxed expression appeared on his face. He raised his hand and used his cultivation base to force out a drop of blood. Because his fleshly body had already reached such a level, ordinary weapons would not be able to leave a single wound on it. Unless Linley did it himself. The drop of blood that was emitting a purple glow was squeezed out from his fingertip. Suddenly, a fragrant smell drifted out and filled the air. Luckily I set up an illusion array just now. Otherwise, the secret of the sovereign blood would have been discovered. As he thought of this, he raised his head and looked at the clueless crowd. Then, he wanted to squeeze out a drop of his blood on the token so that it could be refined. Drip it. I'm afraid that the moment your blood drips on it, your body will not listen to you and you will become someone's puppet. Suddenly, the system's voice sounded. However, when the voice entered Lin Rei's ears, it was piercing and cold. It made him tremble. What do you mean? A murderous intent rushed out. He raised his head and looked at Old Ghost. Then, he asked the system in his heart, what did you mean just now? Is this token not real? Thinking of what the system said, Lin Rei's hair stood on end and he shuddered. If what the system said was true, then, daring not to think about it anymore, Lin Rei directly interrupted his thoughts and seriously waited for the system's answer. Tisk sigh. Actually, just a moment ago, I discovered that there is a secret contract within this badge. It's similar to a slave contract. As long as your blood drips onto it, the contract will immediately take effect, causing you to lose your self-awareness. Of course, you won't be erased. Instead, you'll be comfortable with the contract and unable to break free. As such, if you are bound by this contract, then you will unconditionally obey the master of the contract. Even if he asks you to kill the people closest to you, your wife, your son, or even your mother, you will not hesitate, nor will you feel any resentment. Instead, you will be filled with gratitude and will be even more loyal to him. Linley sucked in a breath of cold air. His face was as gloomy as water, and his back was drenched in cold sweat. If it hadn't been for the system's warning, he probably would have become a mindless killing machine by now. However, since the system said so, it meant that it had a solution. At the same time, Lin Rei was already prepared to be ripped off. Say it, how many exchange points or reputation points do I need to get in touch with this kind of contract? Hee. The system laughed without any hesitation, and did not look like it was going to backstab him. Not much, asterisk asterisk 3 million. If you want to learn it, 10 million then. Hey, don't bargain, butler. This is the lowest price I can give you. Besides, if you want to buy this thing directly from the system, you'll need to pay 6 to 7 times more than this price. Do you really think you want it? Oh, all right, that's enough. I understand. Interrupting the little dragon, he did not dare to listen anymore. He already owed more than 50 million. If he were to buy it from the system, then the money he owed would take a long time to pay off. However, even so, thinking about what happened just now, Lin Ray naturally made up his mind. Decipher and learn this contract. Since you dare to play dirty tricks on me, then don't blame me for being rude. With that thought, the surrounding temperature dropped to the minimum. Ding. All right, deciphering begins. Ding. Learning begins. Ding. 13 million has been deducted. The host now owes the system 65. 42 million, which is 64. 32 exchange points. Ding. If you are in arrears, you must pay it off within 3,000 years. Otherwise, the system will begin to overdraw its life force to buy time for the host. Please hurry up, do not joke with your life. Hashtag at asterisk. Hearing the system report his debt, suddenly, a huge mountain fell from the sky and pressed on his back without any cushioning, making him a little breathless. Such a huge debt, it was his first time. Well, it was his first time owing so much. However, thinking that it was all for the little token in his hand and the saint in front of him, Lin Ray could not help but have the urge to kill. However, he also knew that he could not kill him now because the system had not given him a notification to complete the mission. Therefore, he still had some use for them. Ding. Blood Oath slave system has been dispelled. What came to him just as he thought? He originally wanted to kill someone, but now the knife to kill someone was right in front of him. Without hesitation, he wiped the blood that he had been waiting for on the blood-colored token. Suddenly, a dragon's roar rang out from the token, followed by a blood-colored light that illuminated the sky. Feeling the blood-colored light, his heart inexplicably jumped. The tyrannical aura in his bones seemed to have lost its mind and wanted to rush out and occupy his body, wanting to control him to kill someone. Yes, it was killing. The thirst for blood, the thirst for battle, the thirst for blood that came from this token. However, just as this feeling was at its peak, the blood-colored light suddenly disappeared, and the tyrannical aura instantly returned to normal, as if it had never appeared. What was that just now? It was actually able to resonate with my tyrannical aura. Looking down at the blood-colored token lying quietly in his hand, he was shocked. No one responded to Lin Ray's words, but a message that was not inferior to his suddenly appeared and squeezed into his mind. Blood Fiend Talisman Treasure, Middle Stage Innate Spiritual Treasure. The Blood Fiend Talisman scripture inside was comprehended by the Blood Fiend ancestor when he was a half-saint. Only those who possess the Blood Fiend Talisman treasure can cultivate the Blood Fiend Talisman scripture inside. A heavenly spiritual treasure. When he saw the message that had suddenly appeared in his mind, Lin Ray felt as if he had suddenly floated into the clouds. A heavenly spiritual treasure was not something that a divine weapon could compare to. Ding. Congratulations to the host. From this moment onwards, you are the sect master of the symbol sect. Ding. Congratulations to the host. Mission completed. Please check the mission completion reward. Suddenly, while Lin Ray was still in a daze, the mission completion notification rang out in his mind, instantly waking him up. A sense of excitement and joy appeared on his face. At this moment, he felt as if a rock had been lifted from his heart. It's finally completed. His entire body relaxed, and he looked at himself. At this moment, he felt exceptionally relaxed, and the sense of urgency from before had disappeared. At the same time, his murderous aura could no longer be held back and directly seeped out of his body. This was because he knew that his taboo on killing had been lifted when the system notified him that the mission had been completed. Chapter 9:16. Ding. Mission Reward. The correct refining method of the sky-reaching tower and a map of the flying immortal lake. Didn't you ask me to check? Why did you come out on your own? Of course, Lin Ray was just joking. He already knew about the reward. There was no response. The system fell into silence. Lin Ray was already used to this. The system was silent. Linley wasn't in a hurry to search for the prize. Instead, he began to worry about the blood-colored command medallion. Initially, he wanted to obtain the Talisman Grandmaster and complete the mission. After that, he would give up the position of the Sect Master. However, the proof of being the Sect Master of the Talisman Grandmaster was a primordial spiritual treasure and a talisman scripture. How could Lin Ray not be worried? He wanted the talisman scripture, but he did not want to be the Sect Master of the Talisman Grandmaster. He was in a dilemma. Hey, are you done? I've given you the token and the position of the Sect Master is now yours. What else do you want? Why are you not withdrawing the charges for imprisoning us? Are you going back on your word? Suddenly, an impatient voice rang out from up ahead. He didn't even need to look to know who this voice belonged to. At the same time, Linley wanted nothing more than to kill the owner of this voice. The illusory formation was removed silently. Lin Ray's figure reappeared in front of everyone. However, Lin Ray's eyes were restrained and he was expressionless. His face was pale and his body was stiff. His hands were hanging by his side. He looked like a fool as he stared blankly at Old Ghost in front of him. Everyone was stunned and confused by Lin Ray's situation. Only Old Ghost was not confused. Instead, he looked as if it was only natural. At this moment, he was no longer afraid, frightened, worried, and resentful. All that was left was excitement. However, Old Shen noticed Old Ghost's behavior from afar and asked subconsciously, "Old Ghost, does his behavior have anything to do with you?" When Old Chen said this, everyone, including Su Ziqing and Xuanfeng, looked at Old Ghost, waiting for his response. His gaze swept across the crowd, and when he looked at Elder Chen, his face was filled with delight. "That's right, he's doing this because of me." At that moment, he had completely let go of himself and was no longer as tense as before. "I'm a saint, yet I was threatened by a mid-stage ultimate god weakling. I even almost got killed. Do you think I don't care about my reputation? Furthermore, what he did was a slap to our beast drive Sect's face. How can I let him off so easily?" The more Old Ghost spoke, the more ferocious and hateful his face became. "No, you're not doing this for the Sect's reputation. You're doing this for yourself, for your own reputation. Also, don't talk about the Sect every time. Lingbai was like this, and it's the same this time. Don't you feel ashamed?" The sudden reprimand caused everyone present to be stunned. Everyone looked at Su Ziqing in the air, especially Old Ghost. However, at this moment, he no longer had the respect from before. There was only disdain and possessiveness. "Ashamed? Ha, why should I feel ashamed?" As he spoke, he glanced at Linley, then stepped forward to stand next to him. Seeing that Linley no longer had that arrogant air about him, Linley felt incredibly good. Especially now that he was under his control, it was a feeling he had never felt before. "No matter what, I've saved all of you. Don't you think so, kid?" "Yes." Under everyone's gaze, Lin Ray's stiff neck gently tapped and said, "Then tell me, am I your master?" "Yes, you're my master." "Haha, good. If that's the case, then take out your interspatial ring. Oh, right, even your weapon and cultivation technique. I'll keep them for you." As he spoke, Old Ghost stretched out his hand, wanting to ask for the interspatial ring. F*CK, you're pushing your luck. I'm just playing with you. How dare you ask for my cultivation technique? You're not worthy. Really, my bad temper, he muttered in his heart. However, how could Lin Ray agree to this request? He was just playing with him on a whim. As for the cultivation technique and weapon, he sneered in his heart. Suddenly, a bright light surfaced in his originally lifeless eyes. His two powerless and drooping arms recovered to their original state. As for his pale complexion, it also recovered its rosy color. Straightening his back and looking at Old Ghost, who had his back facing him, Lin Ray's killing intent rose in his heart. He said coldly, "Tisk battle technique, I can't give you the weapon. However, I do have a life with you. However, this sovereign wants to take it back. Do you want to give it to me or not?" "What, you?" The sudden voice gave Old Ghost a fright. His heart skipped a beat, and his stiff neck turned to look at Lin Ray, who was behind him. When he saw Lin Ray, who had a sneer on his face, ice-cold eyes, and was filled with killing intent, Old Ghost subconsciously took action. His figure instantly wanted to retreat. Don't be in such a hurry to leave. Didn't you want to enslave me before? Why, you don't want to anymore." Looking at Old Ghost's action, how could Lin Ray give him the chance to escape? He raised his hand and used the Shibe hand to press on Old Ghost's body. Plop! A miserable scream came from Old Ghost's mouth. His entire body was slapped to the ground. He no longer had the slightest trace of an expert. His entire person could only be described as miserable. Lying on the ground, his hair was messy and his face was covered in dust. Scarlet blood would occasionally spurt out from his mouth. Moreover, this scarlet blood was mixed with fragments of his internal organs. How can this be? How can you not? How can I not be enslaved by the contract you hid in the token? You know? Looking at Lin Ray, Old Ghost was extremely shocked. He didn't expect that his little trick would be seen through. Originally, I didn't know either. However, I accidentally discovered your little trick. Otherwise, I would have fallen into your trap. I'm afraid that by then, I would have become a killing machine under your control. It was undeniable that what Lin Ray said was true. Possessing the ability to fight above one's level meant that he wanted to get his hands on Old Ghost. The only result was as he imagined. You puff. Hearing Lin Ray's words, Old Ghost was so angry that he spurted out a mouthful of blood. The aura on his body instantly withered. If you were a sage in the past, I might have spent some time. However, you're just a cultivator in the supreme god realm now. In my eyes, no matter if you were in the past or now, you're still an ant. There's no difference at all. As he spoke, he looked at Suziching above his head and asked, "I'll kill this person. Do you have any objections?" Hearing this, everyone was stunned. They looked at Lin Ray with a strange expression. Perhaps to others, Lin Ray was provoking Suziching. However, Suziching didn't see it that way. This was because she also had the urge to kill Old Ghost. However, due to her identity as the young lady of the Beast Drive sect, she didn't do it. Now that someone was willing to do it for her, it would be beneficial to her. This would also ease the tension between her and Lin Ray. Why not kill two birds with one stone? Kill him. A shameless person like him will only ruin the reputation of the Beast Drive sect. I'll leave it to you. Chapter 9:17. This. Young miss, you can't. No matter what, Old Ghost is still an outer sect elder of the Beast Driving sect. If you do this, the sect leader will. Hearing Suziching's words, Elder Chen's expression changed. He was extremely shocked. He didn't expect his young miss to be like this. Although Old Ghost was in the wrong, they were still from the same sect. No matter what, he would still try to save his life. But now, alas, forget it. It's useless. Old Ghost has gone too far. Originally, he only needed to hand over the token. But he didn't know how to use the token to harm others without benefiting himself. He should bear such a consequence. This is the price that he has to pay. The old man at the side hurriedly spoke to stop and enlighten him. He knew that Elder Chun and Elder Gui were on good terms, but he also knew that if this matter did not come to an end, all the saints present, including Su Zicheng, would be buried here. Ha! Ha! Everyone was conflicted, scheming, and trying to save themselves. Old Ghost laughed very loudly. However, this laugh was filled with bitterness, unwillingness, regret. Now that he thought about what he had done, he was extremely regretful. Sigh. Come, give this old man a quick death. This matter is my fault, and it has nothing to do with anyone else. However, as he spoke, he raised his head and looked in Su Zicheng's direction. With a pleading look in his eyes, he said, "Eldest young miss, even if this old man dies, I will not be able to erase the evil deeds of the past. However, this old man's family is innocent. This old man has nothing else to say. I only beg young miss to help me take care of my family. As long as they are not ostracized in the sect, it will be fine. As for their achievements, let fate decide." After speaking, Old Ghost's body was completely powerless. At this moment, he seemed to have come to terms with everything. If he had to choose again, he would probably obediently hand over the token without any trick. "Don't worry. Your family and the sect won't do anything rash. Go in peace. All of this was caused by your greed. You can't blame anyone else." After speaking, Su Zicheng turned her head and looked away. However, she didn't leave. It wasn't up to her to decide. Come. This old man's wish has been fulfilled. I have no other requests. Hearing Su Zicheng's promise, Old Ghost smiled. He looked at Lin Rei and opened his arms, ready to die. With a rumble, Old Ghost was prepared to die, but his battle beast rushed towards Lin Rei as if it had gone mad. Presumably, that bloody mouth had ferocious fangs. Its speed was so fast that it was not far away from Lin Rei in an instant. When this scene appeared, everyone present was stunned. Even Old Ghost, who was prepared to die, was also shocked. He wanted to give the order to stop, but at this moment, he found that his war beast was completely out of his control. Thinking of Lin Rei's strength before, he couldn't help but worry for his war beast. After all, the two of them had been together for a very long time. Although it was just a war beast, he had already treated it as his own war beast after such a long time. Humph! Lin Rei's feelings for his beast that had lost control instantly turned cold, and a murderous aura emerged. Then, he looked at Old Ghost and curiously asked him what was going on. I don't know. He seems to have escaped my control. I can't control him anymore." When Old Ghost's eyes met with Lin Rei's, his body suddenly trembled and he hurriedly explained. "Is that so?" Hearing this, Lin Rei continued to stare at Old Ghost, curiously trying to find clues. But in the end, he didn't see anything and believed Old Ghost. The roar of the beast approached, but Lin Rei didn't make any moves to defend or attack. For a moment, Su Zicheng clenched his hands in the air, his heart full of worry. "Be careful!" Suddenly, a shocking tiger roar spread out in all directions with Lin Rei as the center. In this life, the tiger roar could be said to have shocked the heavens and made people's eardrums hurt. In this regard, everyone was stunned, not understanding where this tiger roar came from. "Go! I've locked you up for so long, it's time to let you out." While everyone was puzzled, Lin Rei spoke. It was none other than the Scarlet Flame Tiger that had come all the way from the Otherworld continent. Of course, this time was different from the past. The little beast at the Foundation establishment stage had now become a great beast that could intimidate a region. Whoosh! A red figure instantly rushed out of Lin Rei's body and rushed to Old Ghost's beast with the same speed as before. The figure appeared, and a giant beast that was hundreds of meters tall appeared in front of everyone. Its whole body was covered in flames, and its temperature was so high that everyone except Lin Rei couldn't help but have the urge to retreat. The moment the Scarlet Flame Tiger appeared, the surrounding temperature suddenly rose to a new high. As for how high it rose, no one knew. At this moment, everyone only knew that this beast was very powerful. I didn't expect Little Tiger to evolve to such a powerful level after absorbing the undying flame. This flame temperature, I'm afraid that except for my illusory spirit bloodfire, all other flames are useless. At this moment, Lin Rei's pupils shone brightly, and his heart was filled with excitement. That little beast had already become so powerful, and from the aura it was exuding, the realm of the gods was probably not enough for it to toss around. Awu, on the other hand, Old Ghost's beast suddenly stopped the moment the scarlet flame tiger appeared. It was extremely frightened, and its whole body trembled with fear. Its body subconsciously retreated, and from its actions, it seemed to want to escape the scene. Awu, little thing, you dare to be so impudent in front of your master? Do you really think I'm a good person? Looking at the little beast in front of him, Lin Rei, who was inside his body, was very clear about the previous scene. This beast. Everyone came back to their senses, and their gazes fell on the scarlet flame tiger, and their hearts were filled with shock. However, as the young miss of the beast-driving sect, she had been taught all kinds of knowledge about beasts since she was young, so the moment she saw the scarlet flame tiger, she vaguely knew the origin of the scarlet flame tiger. However, she couldn't believe that the prehistoric beast in front of her was just her imagination. Scarlet flame tiger. Finally, before Su Ziqing could speak, Old Chen opened his mouth, and his voice was filled with shock and trembling. No, that's not right, the scarlet flame tiger is only a low-level beast. How could it have such a cultivation level? TSK, because of the bloodline restriction, it's even more impossible to cultivate to such a powerful level. Impossible, absolutely impossible. At this moment, Old Chen seemed to have gone crazy, and he kept shaking his head. However, he didn't know that his actions and words had already fallen into the ears of the scarlet flame tiger. Towards Old Chen, the scarlet flame tiger's heart was filled with killing intent. Especially when it heard the words low-level beast, its killing intent couldn't be suppressed. However, when it thought of the situation, the scarlet flame tiger couldn't help but turn its head to look at Lin Rei, as if it wanted his approval. Seeing the scarlet flame tiger turn its head, as if he knew what she wanted, he nodded his head and agreed. Go. Do whatever you want, if anything happens, I'll take care of it for you. Moreover, as my beast, how could I let you speak to me like that? Whoosh. Hearing this, the scarlet flame tiger's huge body trembled, and then it nodded its head. Understood, Brother Lei. After getting permission, the scarlet flame tiger turned its head and looked at Old Chen. As for the beast in front of it, the scarlet flame tiger didn't care about it at all. With a loud boom, the scarlet flame tiger moved. It took a step forward, and its huge claws directly and mercilessly stepped on the beast's body. Kacha kacha, the sound of bones breaking resounded in the field. Hearing this sound, everyone couldn't help but look at the beast that was being stepped on by the scarlet flame tiger. Their hearts were filled with pity. Originally, as a hierarch realm demonic beast, it should have the strength to fight back. This was what everyone thought. However, they didn't know that the scarlet flame tiger already had a trace of the dragon clan's bloodline in its body. In addition to the undying flame that it absorbed before, its bloodline was upgraded again. Therefore, just the suppression of the scarlet flame tiger's bloodline was enough to make the beast not dare to fight back. Ant, although you're a saint, you're just an ant in front of Brother Lei. You don't need to say anything, but you shouldn't have said that I'm a low-level demonic beast, so die. After saying that, it roared angrily and its body shrunk until it was the size of the scarlet flame tiger. No, you. Feeling the scarlet flame tiger's killing intent, Old Chen was stunned. His expression changed and he wanted to refute. However, would the scarlet flame tiger give him a chance to refute? The answer was no. Without waiting for Old Chen to speak, the scarlet flame tiger turned into a stream of light and arrived in front of Old Chen in an instant. It raised its front foot and wanted to stomp Old Chen to death, just like how it stomped the beast. "How dare you!" The old man saw that Old Chen was still in a daze and his heart tightened. He subconsciously took action and clashed with the scarlet flame tiger. "Old Chen, wake up quickly. Now is not the time to be in a daze. Otherwise, the three of us will die here. Hurry up." Seeing Old Chen in a daze, the old man's heart tightened and he immediately used his divine sense to warn Old Chen. Boom! The old man didn't gain any advantage in this collision. Instead, he was at a disadvantage because of the suppression of his cultivation realm. Of course, the most important reason was that demonic beasts were invincible in the same cultivation realm. After all, demonic beasts mainly cultivated their physique. Therefore, moreover, the scarlet flame tiger was surrounded by the undying flame. Its temperature was shocking. Although the old man was protected by his spiritual energy, he was still affected by the undying flame in the end. How is this possible? This beast's flame can even invade my spiritual energy. How is this possible? No. Feeling the scorching pain from his palm, the old man's heart tightened. The next batch of saints took Old Chen and distanced themselves. Everything happened too quickly. Suzicheng couldn't stop it in time, and both sides were already engaged in a fierce battle. If it was in the past, Suzicheng wouldn't be worried. But now that her cultivation realm was suppressed, the saints could only use the strength of an ultimate god. Facing a late ultimate god demonic beast and that mysterious flame, she absolutely believed that if she didn't intervene, none of the saints present would be able to survive. Thinking about it, she moved and appeared in front of Lin Rei in a flash. She took a step forward and was about to plead for mercy. "There's no need to say anything. It's useless. Since I've left this matter to Little Tiger, it's his problem. Unless he says something otherwise." Lin Rei was very clear about Suzicheng's words. Therefore, he didn't wait for her to speak and directly rejected her. Looking at Lin Rei, Suzicheng's heart was filled with hatred. She didn't expect things to turn out this way. "Old Chen, hurry up and fight together. Otherwise, we'll all die. Think about your family. What will happen to them if you die?" Facing the red flame tiger alone, the old man couldn't bear it. Their only chance was to fight together. Boom! The old man's words struck a chord deep in Old Chen's heart. Suddenly, Old Chen recovered from his daze and his eyes were filled with the desire to fight. "Yes, I can't die here. I still have my family." Saying that, he looked at the old man and gave him a grateful look. Then, he turned his head and looked at the red flame tiger. His whole body was filled with the desire to fight. "Heh, come on. Let me see your strength. Let me know how many of you can survive." Saying that, the red flame tiger attacked again. This time, its aura was even stronger than before. The two sides were instantly entangled. In order to survive, Old Chen and the old man both used their trump cards. In response, Lin Rei smiled and didn't pay attention to them. Instead, he looked at Old Ghost. "Old man, remember to be a good person in your next life. Otherwise, today's scene will repeat itself." Saying that, he threw a ball of illusory spirit blood fire at Old Ghost. A hysterical scream came out of Old Ghost's mouth. He rolled on the ground as if he wanted to extinguish the illusory spirit blood fire on his body. Only, what he didn't know was that unless Linley was willing, there was no way the mirage spirit blood fire would be extinguished. Of course, there was another result, and that was that when Linley was burned to the point that not even dregs were left, the mirage spirit blood fire would naturally be extinguished. Is there a need to torture him like this? Isn't it better to just kill him? Do you have to make him suffer like this? Looking at Old Ghost and listening to the screams and scenes that she would never forget in her life, she couldn't help but ask Lin Rei. Without raising his head, his gaze fell on Xuanfeng and the others in the distance. He replied, "I'm willing. Moreover, if I had truly been enslaved by that old bastard, my end would only be worse than this. Thus don't tell me that. These people must die. From the day they plotted against me, their fates were already sealed. After saying that, he didn't have the chance. He looked at Xuanfeng and the others and said, "All of you, come here. I have something to say to all of you." Hearing those words, Xuanfeng and the others were stunned. Thinking of their actions when he entered the door, their hearts couldn't help but tremble. But even so, none of them had the slightest thought of escaping because they knew that they couldn't escape. In the end, they could only obediently come before Lin Rei. With their heads lowered, they looked like they were waiting for judgment. Lin Rei was stunned. Thinking of the reason, he couldn't help but laugh. "There's no need for this. I won't touch any of you. I think that the Talisman Sect will be maintained by all of you in the future." Hearing those words, both Xuanfeng and Su Ziqing were stunned. Their hearts were filled with doubt. "You don't have to look at me like that. Indeed, I want the position of Symbol Grandmaster. However, it is only temporary. I will hand the position of Sect Master to you. As for the token, I will take it away. Consider it my compensation. All of you don't have any objections, right?" Chapter 9:18. Such a dramatic scene wasn't important in Xuanfeng's eyes. What was important was that he would be able to control the entire Talisman Sect. That was enough. Looking at the young man in front of him, Xuanfeng nodded and replied, "Don't worry, I will protect the Talisman Sect well. You can go in peace." "Haha, what you said is really..." Looking at Xuanfeng, Lin Rei smiled and turned to the Scarlet Flame Tiger. "Little tiger, let's end this quickly. There are still many things waiting for us to deal with." Roar. "Yes, Brother Lei." Receiving Lin Rei's urging, the Scarlet Flame Tiger unleashed its full strength and crazily attacked Old Chen and Old Ghost. At first, they were still able to handle it, but as time went on, the two were gradually unable to withstand it. In the end, they were burned to ashes by the Scarlet Flame Tiger's undying flame. Just like Old Ghost, there wasn't even a trace of them left. A dignified saint, an outer sect elder of the beast-driving sect, died so sullenly in a foreign land. Moreover, they died in the hands of a hierarch realm beast. They probably never thought that they would end up like this. Roar. After doing all this, the Scarlet Flame Tiger came in front of Lin Rei. It laid on the ground and rubbed against Lin Rei like a spoiled child, as if it was asking for a reward. That's enough, little tiger. This matter is not bad. Moreover, your cultivation has increased. Although your foundation isn't good, it's not a dream to believe in becoming a saint. Moreover, I still want you to accompany me to conquer the holy world and reach the peak of Tao. Therefore, you have to work hard in the future. Otherwise, it won't be good if I leave you behind. Roar. I know, Brother Lei. Don't worry, who am I? I am your beast. Believe in me. At this moment, the little dragon was filled with confidence. Its pair of eyes that were filled with confidence made Su Ziqing dumbfounded. She simply could not understand how a low-level magical beast could cultivate to such a level, and it even dared to boast about reaching the peak of the ways. Probably even the great leaders of the saints' world would not dare to say something like that. Alright. He glanced at Little Tiger and then at Su Ziqing, a stranger to him. If you like it here, then you can continue to stay here. They won't do anything rash. After he finished speaking, Lin Rei looked at Xuanfeng and the others. Killing intent flashed in his eyes. Xuanfeng's body trembled violently, but he quickly recovered. He understood what Lin Rei meant. Miss Su, don't worry. You can stay here for as long as you want. We'll definitely treat you as an honored guest and treat you well. We won't dare to neglect you in the slightest. Hearing Xuanfeng's perverted words, a smile appeared on Lin Rei's face and his heart relaxed. Towards Su Ziqing, it could be said that he had already done everything he could. This matter would naturally be resolved, and there was no point in staying here. Xuanfeng, I'll leave this place to you. If the beast-driving sect wants to find out who's responsible, don't hide anything. Just tell them my name. My name is Lin Rei. If you want revenge, come find me anytime. Xuanfeng wanted to reply, but just as he opened his mouth, Lin Rei's figure disappeared. Xuanfeng, who wanted to say something, stopped abruptly and shook his head with a bitter smile. With such great power, no matter how strong or talented I am, I'll never be able to catch up to him in this lifetime. I'll make him pay the price. Xuanfeng laughed bitterly, and the resentment in his heart instantly dissipated. After seeing what Lin Rei had done during this period of time, even the stupidest person knew that they couldn't afford to offend him. Sigh. However, Su Ziqing laughed bitterly, and her face was filled with disappointment. She looked at the spot where Lin Rei had disappeared and sighed. Then, she walked away, ignoring Xuanfeng and the others, and walked down the mountain. Xuanfeng didn't stop Su Ziqing and let her leave. After all, he had already made his decision. The miscellaneous people left one by one. At that moment, only the original members of the Talisman sect were left. Xuanfeng turned around and said, "Everyone, pretend that you didn't see what happened today. No one knows anything about it. Understand?" "We understand. Don't worry, Sect Master." A loud voice proved everyone's intentions. That's good. Since that's the case, everyone, return to your positions and do your own things. The sect will return to normal operations at this moment." After Xuanfeng gave his order, everyone bade farewell to each other. After this incident, everyone knew how to cherish their time, and they also understood that power was everything. Within the elite disciple residential area. Within a random courtyard. Ever since Linley had left, Ice and Shadow had been feeling uneasy, especially after sensing that familiar aura from before. The two of them were even more worried. Initially, they wanted to go out and investigate. However, when they recalled Lin Rei's instructions before he left, the two of them gave up on this idea, and obediently stayed where they were. "My husband's aura has disappeared. What's going on?" Wenning sensed that Lin Rei's aura was no longer in the air, her heart was in a mess, and she began to let her imagination run wild. "TSK, my husband is really too much. Wouldn't it be better if he brought us along? Although it's dangerous, we can watch from a close distance, and we don't have to be so alarmed. Is it really alright for these two girls to talk about me behind my back?" At this moment, Lin Rei arrived in the air. When he heard what the two of them were saying, a sliver of interest appeared on his face. He could not help but grumble inside. "TSK, you brat, they're right. You're just so worrisome. Otherwise, why would I have been so worried all this time?" Suddenly, the little dragon's voice rang out in his head. I'm not. Have I ever made you worry?" Although he refused to admit it, his face had already reddened from what he had said. He avoided looking ahead. When he thought of how the little dragon had saved him in the past, his heart immediately ached. "Brat, you clearly want to thank me very much, yet you're still so stubborn. However, I don't care about that. I just want to know what you plan to do next. Now that you've completed your mission in the Talisman sect, shouldn't you be looking for the way of space to break through in the future so that you can make plans for entering the Saint's world?" "Yes." Lin Rei nodded. His face was solemn. "Yes, now that I've completed my mission, it's time to look for the way of space to break through in the future." However, when he thought of the way of space, Lin Rei felt powerless. The divine realm was so big. Who knew where the way of space would go? Even if he had the strongest cultivation in the divine realm, it was absolutely impossible for him to travel the entire divine realm and break through to the saint realm within 100 years. It was not only him. Even if a saint came, he would not dare to make such a promise. Forget it. This matter cannot be rushed. Let's take it slow. In any case, it's fine as long as I can break through in the next 400 years and enter the saint's world. As for the other matters, they are not important. Yes, I know. Don't worry. He nodded at the little dragon. Then, he stopped talking. With a flash, he landed behind Ing and Bing. Although he was worried about breaking through to the Saint realm and entering the Saint's world, he immediately threw this matter to the back of his mind when he saw his 2 wives who were worried about him. Don't worry, your husband is fine. Chapter 9:19. Fan Yun City, we're finally here. In the east, Fan Yun City was a lawless area. Sects, forces, and empires had no influence here, let alone control this place. Although this place was called Fan Yun City, it had another name, Ghost City. It meant that as long as you were strong enough, you could do whatever you want. As long as you were strong enough, you would be the emperor of this place. Similarly, as long as you were not strong enough, no matter what your status was in the outside world, even if you were the crown prince or emperor of an empire, you would only have one identity in this place. You would be a person who would risk your life to survive. In this place, you would have to run around for your life all day long. Whether it was at night or when you were sleeping, you must have 100% of your mind to defend against the outside world's attacks and assassinations. Maybe one day you would still be asleep and never wake up to reincarnation. However, there was an endless stream of people entering this city. Not for other reasons, although the death rate here was 80%, the opportunities here were also very rich. In this place there were slave markets, auction houses, trading houses, guilds and things that could not be found in the outside world. In this place, as long as you had the money, as long as you could think of, you would have it. At this moment, at the gate of Fan Yun City, Lin Ray brought his 2 wives to explore the space Tao and cultivate after more than a month. Unknowingly, they had arrived at this place. After asking around, they found out that this Fan Yun City was not rich in opportunities. There was also an existence called Hong Lu. It was established for nothing else but to sell information. The reason why Lin Ray and the other 2 came here was to obtain the information they wanted from Hong Lu. At the same time, they also wanted to see what this ghost city was like. Looking up at this ghost city that was widely known in the outside world, its imposing manner was magnificent. Just the city walls alone were incomparable to other cities. Moreover, there was a powerful formation maintaining it. Not only that, Lin Ray could vaguely feel the existence of runes in it. If it wasn't for Lin Ray's powerful attainments in Talisman Tao, he might not be able to feel the aura of the runes. Lin Ray was very surprised by this. Such powerful attainments in Talisman Tao. If it was before, Lin Ray could say that there was no one who could rival him in the divine world. But now, Fan Yun City. Husband, we've arrived at this dead city, Ing said with a solemn face. The moment he arrived and saw this city, he felt an inexplicable sense of oppression in his heart. This was a feeling that he had only felt when facing a saint. But, there seems to be a strange feeling here. I spoke out Ying's feelings. Strange feeling? He looked at Bing and asked him with a group of people. Actually, I don't know. It's just this feeling. It's very uncomfortable. But fortunately, it's fine. Looking at her husband, Bing quickly ignored this feeling. In her opinion, as long as Lin Ray was there, she would even be willing to go to the netherworld. All right. Lin Ray didn't think too much about it. He turned his head, retracted his gaze, and strode forward with his wife. His speed wasn't very fast, but the passers-by didn't notice Lin Ray and the others. At this moment, Lin Ray and the others were wearing human skin masks. Their faces had changed a lot from before. They believed that even their own children wouldn't recognize them if they saw them. Linley's originally handsome face had disappeared, and he had become a rough man with stubble. As for Shadow and Ice, the 2 of them had changed the most. Because of the human skin masks, the 2 of them had become people who could not be found in a crowd even if they wanted to cry. There were no guards at the city gate. Because it was a city without a master, there were no guards. It was convenient for Lin Ray. After all, every time when they entered the city, they would be forced to stay and circle around before they were allowed to enter. Because of this, Lin Ray had a shadow in his heart. Stepping into the city gate, suddenly, a murderous aura filled the air of the entire city. Even as soon as they entered the city gate, they could feel it. Oh, it's interesting. Look, this is a good place. Fortunately, those little guys are not here. Otherwise, I can let them gain experience here. Don't. What is this place? There is still the smell of blood in the air, and the murderous aura is very dense. Forget it. Ing quickly stopped him. Okay. Lin Ray didn't expect his wife to reject him, but he didn't want to be entangled in this matter. After being together for so long, he understood that in front of women, they were the reason. Let's go in and take a look. Maybe there really will be the answer we want in there? He glanced at the two of them and continued to move forward. Whoosh, bang, bang. Suddenly, there was the sound of something breaking through the air. Following that, a figure appeared and fell to the ground. He rolled a few times on the ground and finally stopped in front of Lin Ray and the others. Pfff. A mouthful of scarlet blood spurted out from his mouth. His entire body was limp on the ground as if he had no bones. He couldn't get up, and his expression was filled with despair. Seeing this sudden situation, Lin Ray and the others were startled. They looked forward and soon, a person holding a long staff arrived. Looking at him and the blood on his long staff, Lin Ray understood what had happened. Humph, bastard, how dare you sneak attack me? Do you think I am a newbie? Don't you know who I am? Hu Liang of the Dragon and Tiger Sect, how dare you bully me? F***ck. The middle-aged man kept muttering. He waved the long staff in his hand from time to time. His eyes were filled with terrifying light as if he was announcing to everyone that this was the consequence of offending him. Oh, a late divine emperor! His murderous aura is so dense that it almost materializes. As expected of the city of death, the first person we see is a divine emperor. Looking at the middle-aged man, who called himself Hu Liang, Lin Ray became more interested in the city of death. Husband, let's go. The less trouble, the better. We have just arrived. Let's see the situation first. After all, we are not familiar with this place. Seeing Hu Liang's gaze, Ing hurriedly said to Lin Ray. Yes. Husband, Sister Ing is right. Let's get out of here quickly. It will be bad if Hu Liang goes crazy and finds trouble with us. Hearing this, Lin Ray and Ing rolled their eyes and looked at Bing. Just as Bing finished his words, a discordant sound of a machine appeared. The three of you, why don't you salute me when you see me? Don't you know who I am? Needless to say, they knew who the speaker was. With regards to this, Linley felt a wave of helplessness in his heart as he glanced at Bing. Following which, he turned his head and met Hu Liang's eyes as he smiled and said, please advise us on this. The three of us have just arrived here and do not know the rules here. Chapter 920. Hu Liang's expression changed, and he choked on his words. He clenched his fists tightly, especially the hand that was holding the staff. Creaking sounds could be heard from it. As for the elders of the surging cloud city, the moment they saw Hu Liang, they took a few steps back and made way for him. Their expressions were so serious that one could see the excitement in their eyes. Although everyone looked serious on the surface, they were very excited on the inside. There were even some people who were cheering in their hearts. Hurry up and do it. Lin Ray ignored the crowd. He was just curious as to why this Hu Liang had the courage to challenge him in front of him. Time passed little by little and Hu Liang didn't do anything. Lin Ray was getting a little impatient. He wanted to have some fun, but he didn't expect Hu Liang to be such a silent fart. Forget it. Since he's not doing anything, let's go. There are a lot of things waiting for us anyway. We can't keep wasting time here. Okay, let's go. Hearing this, Ying and Bing nodded obediently with a look of disdain. Then, they followed Lin Rei and prepared to leave. Whoosh, just as Lin Li and Ying Ying were about to pass by Hu Liang, there was the sound of something tearing through the air, and a stick suddenly appeared out of nowhere, blocking Lin Li and the others' path. Did I say you could leave? As soon as Hu Liang's voice resounded, the surrounding air seemed to have solidified and the temperature dropped. However, at this moment, Lin Rei wasn't willing to let it go. You bastard! You didn't do anything when I told you to. Now that I don't have time, you're getting excited, aren't you? Fine. Since you're getting excited, let's see who will be the one toying with whom. He muttered inwardly. Then, a glint flashed and a bewitching smile appeared on his face. He turned around and looked at Hu Liang, the little divine emperor. Little guy, you asked for it. When I told you to do something, you only knew how to fart. Now that I'm about to leave, you've finally found your chance. Don't you know that my time is very precious? Do you think you can afford it? Oh no, you can't afford it. Is the strength behind you worthy? If you can, then you have the capital to cause a ruckus. But if you don't, I'm sorry, then you and the power behind you will disappear from this city from now on. Hiss, everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. Hearing these words, the surrounding people were all stunned. Their expressions were very interesting. What did you say? Angry. Anyone who heard this would be angry, but it depended on whether the person was rational or not. If they were rational, they would first consider the consequences, but if they were brainless, then it was a different story. As for Hu Liang, Lin Rei estimated that he didn't have a brain. Just based on how he killed people at the entrance of the City of Death with his killing rod, Lin Rei could feel that Hu Liang was definitely a simple-minded idiot. Idiot, my husband has already said it. But since you don't understand, then I will use plain language to explain it to you. At this moment, Ying stood out with a helpless expression. My husband means that if you don't want to implicate the power behind you, then hurry up and get out of the way. Today's matter will be over. But if you continue to be stubborn and look for trouble, then not only you, even the power behind you will be implicated, or even be completely annihilated. Do you understand now? Unforgivable, you guys are unforgivable. Whoosh. He moved. It could be said that Ying's words were very clear. To him, it was a naked threat and contempt, but to Ying, it was just a reminder to him to not do something stupid. Of course, for Hu Liang, who didn't know the strength of Lin Rei and the other two, he wouldn't understand. Sigh, there's no other way. Come on. Looking at Hu Liang's action, Lin Rei was stunned. Then, he smiled bitterly, rolled up his sleeves and prepared to make a move. Let me do it, husband. Usually, you are the one who helps us. This time, let me have some fun. You just stand aside obediently and rest. Just watch. Looking at his wife, Hu Liang wanted to refute. But before he could say anything, his vision turned black and a figure flashed by quickly. Ying had already disappeared. I really don't know what to do with you. He smiled bitterly and turned his head to look at the front. Lin Rei wasn't worried about Ying. A hierarch and a divine emperor, there was no comparison between them. It was just that under normal circumstances, he didn't want his woman to fight by herself. Perhaps this was what every man thought. Little girl, your man let you come out like this. Aren't you afraid that I will kill you? Looking at the woman who came out, Hu Liang was stunned and sneered. Yes, it's not that I can't see clearly. If you can defeat me, perhaps you will have the chance to fight against my husband. Of course, the result will be unknown. But if you can't even defeat me, your ending will be 10,000 times more miserable than the one who was injured just now. You will die. Then, Ying didn't want to waste any more time and disappeared from Hu Liang's sight. Suddenly, Hu Liang was stunned and had a bad premonition. No, why is she still not here? Ying disappeared without a reason. Hu Liang quickly released his divine sense and looked around, trying to find Ying's figure. But the more he looked, the more uneasy he felt. His forehead was covered with cold sweat. Impossible. Hu Liang panicked when he thought of the consequences that Ing said just now. Get down. Suddenly, a soft whisper woke Hu Liang up. He quickly reacted by covering his chest with both hands. However, before he could react, he felt a sharp pain coming from his back. He couldn't stop his body from falling to the ground. Puff! Scarlet blood spurted out from Hu Liang's mouth. His face instantly turned pale, and he fell to the ground weakly. His face was in close contact with the ground. A wave of pain came from his back. His internal organs had been shaken and displaced by the palm strike just now. It was a terrible feeling. His injuries would take at least 30 to 40 years to recover. Of course, if he had a good healing pill or a heavenly treasure, it wouldn't be a problem. However, this also depended on whether Hu Liang had the life to leave or not. Sigh, why bother? After defeating the enemy with one move, Ying's figure appeared in front of Hu Liang. The condescending look in her eyes made Hu Liang realize how ridiculous he was before. Ha! Ha ha ha! Ha ha ha! Thinking of what he had done, Hu Liang couldn't help but laugh at himself. He didn't know that he had been playing a clown. I lost. I didn't think that I would lose. But I don't understand, you're so strong. Why did you hide it? If you didn't hide it, what does that have to do with you? What does it have to do with you? Besides, Ing looked strange and said, I didn't hide it at all. It's just that your level is too low so you can't feel it. Then, Ing turned around perfectly. He didn't even look at Hu Liang, who was lying on the ground. He smiled and walked slowly to Lin Rei. He stood next to him and didn't say anything. You're too cruel. Don't you know that he's a Xinhuang? He's so strong. How could you do that? Lin Rei looked at Ing and scolded him. Although he said he was scolding him, there was no reproach on his face. As he spoke, he looked at Hu Liang and swept his gaze across the crowd. Then, he walked up to Hu Liang and said, If it were me, I wouldn't treat him like this. After all, he said that he was awesome. If it were me, I would kill him directly. What? Bang! With a muffled sound, Lin Li's left foot landed viciously on Hu Liang's head. At that moment, Hu Liang's head was crushed by Lin Rei's left foot. Red and white liquid splashed in all directions. Everyone couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air. Some of their invisible faces instantly turned pale, and their bodies began to tremble. Even though this place was called the City of Death, and what they did here was killing people, who would be so bored as to step on other people's heads and cause their brains to splatter. Blurg! The sound of vomiting could be heard from the side. Lin Li was startled and looked over with a strange expression. He didn't expect that someone who had survived in such an environment would vomit. Logically speaking, those who were able to come to this city of death were all extremely vicious people. He was stunned by the crowd's reaction. Then, he came back to his senses. He ignored the crowd and came to Ing and Ling. He said, Yes. I'm afraid that someone has noticed us. Then what should we do? Ing was shocked and asked. What else can we do? Looking at his wife, his eyes were full of coldness and killing intent. Since you've said it before, let's do it thoroughly. The Dragon-Tiger Sect. There's no need for it to exist anymore. Since it's already like this, we'll be noticed sooner or later. Why don't we do it thoroughly now? That way we can intimidate them, right? She smiled and held her children's hands. Then, she walked into the city. Hu Liang's body was left on the ground. It seems that the Dragon-Tiger Sect has kicked a tough nut this time. Yeah. That person just now beat Hu Liang to the point that he couldn't fight back. His cultivation must have reached the Holy Ancestor realm. TSK, I'm afraid there'll be a good show this time. Maybe the forces in the City of Death will be reshuffled today. Seeing Lin Li's group of 3 leave, the surrounding onlookers began to engage in unbridled discussion. Lin Rei, who had left, didn't know about it. Even if he knew, he wouldn't care because it wasn't necessary. In the East City, in a courtyard, 6 big men were sitting in the living room. Their faces were gloomy. The atmosphere in the living room was oppressive and full of gunpowder. A middle-aged man sitting at the top looked at the 5 people around him coldly. He said coldly, "Tell me, what do you think about the news of Hu Liang's death?" Hearing this, the 5 people looked at each other. Their eyes were full of doubt and shock. When they heard that Hu Liang had been killed, they were very surprised. After all, Hu Liang was a cultivator at the late Divine Emperor realm. He was only 1 step away from the Holy Ancestor realm. However, when they heard that Hu Liang had been defeated in 1 move and couldn't fight back, they didn't believe it. They even suspected that the person who had told them the news was exaggerating. "Sect leader, do you think it's possible?" At this time, a young man sitting in the first row below the middle-aged man said, "A divine emperor was killed in 1 move. Can you, a late divine ancestor, do you think you can do it?" Moreover, although the city of death is full of vicious outlaws, there are only a few who have high cultivation and can be killed in 1 move. "Yes." Hearing this, the middle-aged man's eyes lit up. He looked at the young man below with admiration. "Monkey is right. It's impossible for me to kill Hu Liang in 1 move. Even a Sir God wouldn't be able to do it. How many Emperor gods are there in the city of death? As for hierarch gods, there's no need to mention hierarch gods. If such a powerful existence came, how could Hu Liang not know? However, now that Hu Liang is dead, we can't just let this go. Tell me, what should we do now that our brother is dead?" He looked down and said in a threatening tone. For a moment the people below were in a difficult position. If this was done by someone else who wasn't powerful enough, it would be fine. They could just take revenge. However, the most important thing was that Hu Liang had been killed in 1 move. Even the middle-aged man wasn't confident in doing it, let alone them. Therefore, at this moment, silence was the best response. This already represented their response. The middle-aged man, was the current sect leader of Dragon Tiger Sect, Zhang Biao. He was in the late stage of Divine Ancestor realm, and was famous for his demonic sound gale. He was well known in the City of Death. However, it wasn't a good reputation. Seeing that the people below didn't speak, and chose to remain silent, Zhang Biao's face turned ugly. He didn't expect that there would be cowards at such a crucial moment. Moreover, they were all killed. Looking at them, Zhang Biao's anger flared up. "I say, didn't each and every one of you boast about how powerful you are? Why now? Where's the oath between us brothers? We'll share blessings and hardships, live and die together? Have you been eaten by dogs?" Hearing the accusation, the 5 of them lowered their heads even more. They almost buried their heads in their arms. Sigh. "My bad temper, you guys." Looking at how cowardly his subordinates were, he suddenly felt helpless. At this moment, outside the Dragon Tiger Sect, Lin Rei brought yin and yang to the place. Zhang Biao didn't know that the person he was looking for was already at his door. "TSK, I didn't expect this Dragon Tiger Sect to be so rich. Courtyard like this and so luxurious. But this is built on bones. Even if it's just given to me, I wouldn't want it." Looking at Lin Rei, Ing couldn't help but say. Haha, seeing his wife like this, Lin Rei was stunned. Then, he smiled awkwardly and didn't say anything else. "Husband, are we going in?" Bing asked. "Let's go in. Since we're already here, we have to finish what we said before. Otherwise, wouldn't I be a person who breaks my promise?" Saying that, he reached out and stroked Bing's hair with a doting expression. Chapter 921. Feeling the gentleness from her husband's hand, Bing's white cheeks, which were previously blushing, suddenly seemed to have a hint of charm. "Let's go." He did not notice the change in ice and turned to look at the Dragon Tiger Sect. He only wanted to settle the matter here as soon as possible so that he could get the information he wanted. That would be enough. Okay. Shadow and Shadow nodded. They followed Lin Ray and prepared to fight at any time. Halt! This is the Dragon Tiger Sect. Hey, did you hear that? This is the Dragon Tiger Sect. Are you trying to force your way in? At that moment, Zhou, who was at the head of the Dragon Tiger Sect's main gate, saw Lin Ray and the other two and did not take them seriously. But when he saw the three of them walking towards him, he quickly stopped them. However, the result was not ideal. Lin Ray acted as if he did not hear him. Instead, he looked indifferent as if the gatekeeper did not exist. He took large strides towards the gate. Bastard! When he saw that the three people in front of him did not take his words seriously, the gatekeeper only wanted to attack. Even though he was just a gatekeeper, in his heart, as long as he was associated with Dragon Tiger Sect, then he would no longer be a simple gatekeeper. Whoosh! Without wasting any time, the gatekeeper attacked. His eyes were filled with murderous intent. He raised the spear in his hand and thrust it towards Lin Ray. He was a divine guard. Although his cultivation was not high, he had been rolling on the edge of death for a long time. He was much better than those scions of aristocratic families because he had never experienced true death and despair. Seeing the spear coming at him like a dragon, Lin Ray was momentarily stunned. Then, he smiled disdainfully and stretched out his hand to meet the spear. He extended his sword finger and used his physical strength to lightly flick the spear. Suddenly, there was a buzzing sound. The spear trembled and instantly left its trajectory. It pierced towards the gatekeeper at an extremely rough angle. Hiss! A cry of pain came from the gatekeeper's mouth. His face turned pale, and the arm that was holding the spear seemed to have been twisted a few times. If it wasn't for the impact from before, he probably wouldn't have been able to move at all. Why? Feeling the pain coming from his arm, the gatekeeper forgot everything. He forgot about the three people in front of him, forgot that he was a gatekeeper, forgot what he was thinking. Bang! The gatekeeper's spear came into close contact with the ground. At this moment, because of the collision of the spear, the gatekeeper's arm hurt even more. Hugging his injured arm, he stared blankly ahead. His mind was in a daze. Let's go. Lin Ray smiled disdainfully as he looked at the gatekeeper. Then, he said something to his children and stepped through the gate of the Dragon Tiger Sect. Heh, it seems that the Dragon and Tiger Sect has bitten off more than they can chew. For such a powerful person to be able to deal with the divine guards with just a flick of his finger, then, very strong, unfamiliar face, newcomer, definitely newcomer. I don't know. Just now, those three people killed Hu Liang of the Dragon Tiger Sect with a single move on the city gate tower. They even declared that they would destroy the entire Dragon Tiger Sect. Now that they're here, it means that they're here to annihilation. Hiss. Hearing the discussions, the surrounding crowd was stunned. They sucked in a mouthful of cold air and their faces were filled with astonishment. Although the Dragon and Tiger Sect was not one of the top forces in Rumbling Cloud City, they were still a second-rate force. After entering the Dragon and Tiger Sect, Lin Ray looked at the picturesque scenery around him. He did not expect that the Dragon and Tiger Sect would have such a side to them. As for the discussions outside, he naturally did not know. At this moment, he only wanted to use this matter to intimidate the City of Death and save himself some trouble in the future. Who are you? How dare you enter my Dragon and Tiger Sect? Don't you know that this is PFFF? Suddenly, the voice stopped abruptly. The person who had just spoken was holding his throat with both hands. Blood was gushing out from the gaps between his fingers. It was time to attack. Linley didn't want to waste any more words on this annoying fellow. As he continued to move forward, he met many people along the way. However, when they saw Lin Ray, they all said the same thing. In response, Lin Ray did not waste his breath and killed them in one move. clean and crisp. At this moment, he felt as if he had returned to the immortal world. When he was angry, he could annihilate a sect. The pleasure of killing people could not help but surge into his heart. Damn, I did not expect that killing a few people would affect the killing intent in my body. Feeling the killing intent in his body surging, Lin Rei's body paused for a moment. He quickly used his cultivation to suppress it. Feeling that the killing intent in his body had stabilized, Lin Rei suddenly exhaled a mouthful of turbid air. His expression returned to normal. At the side, Ying, who was observing the situation, saw her husband like this. Although she did not know why, she knew that it was related to killing people. She then said, "Husband, you don't have to do anything next. Let me do it." "You?" Lin Rei turned around to look at his wife. He hesitated in his heart. Truthfully speaking, he was unwilling. Moreover, even though the killing intent would affect him, it wasn't to the extent of making his wife do it. "Husband, there's no need to struggle. Let us sisters do it. Isn't it extremely easy for us to capture such a small amount of people?" As soon as she finished speaking, she didn't wait for Lin Rei to refute her. The two of them looked at each other and nodded, and then they took a step forward and instantly left the spot. Lin Rei was stunned when he saw his wife's actions, and then he laughed bitterly and shook his head. Actually, living off a woman isn't bad. If the Talisman Sect, Danzong Sect, Xuanzong Sect, and the others in the immortal world were to find out about this, they would probably explode into an uproar. The former dignified Devil Emperor of the immortal world had actually said that living off a woman wasn't bad. If his enemies were to find out about this, they would probably be angered to the point of leaping out of their coffins and dying again. Just as Lin Rei was laughing bitterly, a miserable shriek sounded from afar. When he heard the shriek, Lin Rei raised his head and looked over. "Why didn't you come quietly? Wouldn't it be bad if you startled the sect masters of the Dragon Tiger sect?" Even though there was a hint of reproach in his tone, his face was relaxed. "Not good. Someone has barged into the Dragon Tiger sect, and they're almost here." In the guest hall of the Dragon Tiger sect, the Dragon Tiger sect's Zhang Biao's expression changed. He stood up abruptly and released his divine ancestor cultivation without holding back. "SSS, how could this be? Is this still our Dragon Tiger sect?" Hearing Zhang Biao's words, Monkey and the other four released their divine consciousness to investigate their own sections. The instant they saw the situation of the Dragon Tiger sect, their expressions changed. Not only were their bodies trembling, some of them even fell backwards the instant they saw this scene. If it wasn't for the chairs behind them, they would probably be lying on the ground right now. "Heh!" Looking at his brothers, Zhang Biao sneered and said, "There's no need to be silent now. Now that someone has come knocking on our door, I don't care what you guys are thinking. However, this is a critical moment. Do what you want to do." After saying that, Zhang Biao didn't say anything else. His figure slid and rushed towards the place where the incident occurred. However, the instant he left the guest hall, Zhang Biao's voice resounded in the guest hall once again. "Remember your oath. Remember our original intentions and determination when we first established the Dragon Tiger sect." Sigh. Seeing Zhang Biao's figure disappear, the 5 people who were standing at the original spot couldn't help but sigh. They wanted to take action and resist. However, through their divine consciousness, they knew that they might not be a match for those two. Thinking about how they only managed to achieve this after so many years of bitter cultivation, their determination to take action was once again shaken. Damn it. If we die, so be it. At most, we'll be heroes again 18 years later. The originally silent guest hall was broken by Monkey's voice. Turning around to look at the other 4, Monkey was extremely disappointed. "You guys, go do whatever you want." After saying that, Monkey's figure directly rushed out of the main door and towards the direction where Zhang Biao left. He's here. At this moment, in the front yard, the instant Lin Rei felt the divine sect's aura, he knew that the Dragon Tiger Sect's sect leader had taken action. As for what happened in the guest hall of the Dragon Tiger Sect, he clearly saw it. Such a weak sect, and they still have the nerve to say that they're a second-rate power in the City of Death. Such weak brothers still want them to help. What wishful thinking. Towards the 4 people who had yet to take action, killing intent flashed across Lin Rei's body. Although they didn't notice it, Lin Rei's surrounding temperature instantly dropped to the extreme under the effect of the killing intent. Boom, he's here. Zhang Biao, who was overflowing with anger, came in front of his children. When his feet landed on the ground beneath his feet cracked. You are? Shadow asked. Looking at the 2 women in front of him, Zhang Biao was speechless. He didn't expect that the 2 people in front of him didn't even know him. Why would they come here to kill if they didn't know him? Thinking about it, looking at his brothers, the nameless anger in his chest uncontrollably surged into his heart. You killed my brothers and you don't even know who I am. Good. Good. Perhaps because he was angered by Shadow and Shadow, he said good 3 times in a row. Since you don't know, then you'll never know. Die. You overestimate yourself. Shadow didn't take it to heart at all. A divine sect and a supreme god. The 2 of them couldn't be compared at all. Whoosh, he attacked. Zhang Biao attacked. A 3-foot-long cold sword appeared in his hand. His figure instantly appeared beside Shadow at an incredible speed. He raised his sword and stabbed towards Lin Rei's chest, killing with 1 blow. This was the usual style of these people who lived on the edge of death. They knew that if they didn't end the battle quickly, they would be the one to die. Feeling the energy fluctuation coming from her face, Shadow frowned. Her face was extremely gloomy. She didn't expect this person to be so ruthless and kill with 1 blow. Bang! The sound of weapons colliding rang out. Shadow attacked. Ice, who was on the side, reacted and casually clashed with his sword. It was originally a hot summer day, but at this moment, gusts of cold wind blew. Even Zhang Biao of Divine Sect couldn't help but shiver when he felt the chill. How can this be? He looked over with doubt. When he saw that the sword that had collided with his own sword was as cold as ice, and that the cold wind had come from it, he was shocked. This sword is a supreme-grade divine artifact? He was puzzled. He had seen supreme-grade divine artifacts before. Of course, seeing them didn't mean he had used them before. Divine artifacts were common in the divine realm, but supreme-grade divine artifacts weren't. Some blacksmiths might not even be able to refine 1 out of 10,000 weapons. Its power was unimaginable. But now, one appeared in front of him. Moreover, it was of the ice attribute. How could he not be shocked? At the same time, the moment he saw the supreme-grade divine artifact, he knew that Dragon Tiger Sect had kicked an existence that they could never afford to offend. One could imagine the background of someone who could possess a supreme-grade divine artifact. Which power are you from? Zhang Biao was terrified. Although he was in Death City, he was still very afraid of the big sects in the outside world. Us? Sect? Power? Looking at the middle-aged man in front of them, Shadow and Ice were puzzled. They didn't understand why he changed so quickly. He was clearly filled with killing intent before, but now, he had become like this. His battle intent had also decreased by more than half. Gentlemen, I was presumptuous just now. May I know why you came to my Dragon Tiger Sect to kill people? If your cultivation level decreases, I will pretend that nothing happened. Is that all right? Looking at Zhang Biao, Shadow and the other 2 were speechless. However, they had already decided to exterminate the Dragon Tiger Sect. So, there's no need to ask and there's no need to guess. We don't have any power behind us. Just as Shadow was about to speak, Lin Rei's voice sounded. Husband? Hearing her husband's words, Shadow turned her head and saw that Lin Ray had already arrived. You are? Although he probed with his divine sense, he still asked because he knew that the person in front of him was the one who was in charge. There's no need to say anything. Do it. I told you before that Hu Liang said that as long as he didn't do anything, everything would be fine. However, he didn't stop. Even when the entire Dragon Tiger sect was threatened, he remained indifferent. In the end, he chose to attack. From that moment onwards, your lives have already entered the countdown. As he spoke, his eyes suddenly turned cold. So, Zhang Biao, this moment is the moment of your death. After saying that, without any hesitation, Lin Ray's figure flashed. In Zhang Biao's eyes, Lin Ray seemed to have disappeared. However, that wasn't the case. In fact, it was because Lin Ray's speed was too fast and Zhang Biao's cultivation level was too low. Therefore, he couldn't detect him. Gotcha! A crisp sound rang out. Zhang Biao, who was looking around cautiously, suddenly felt a pain in his neck. A burning pain appeared in his body. Bang! In the next moment, Zhang Biao's figure was thrown away. He flew for more than 10 meters and crashed into the wall. A miserable cry came out from Zhang Biao's mouth. His body was covered in illusory spirit blood fire. He cried out in pain and rolled on the ground. All of this happened too quickly, in the span of a single breath. Everything was done in just a single breath. Sect Master. A call came from the sky. At this moment, Monkey had already arrived. However, looking at the scene in front of him, he knew that he was too late. Moreover, his Sect Master's life was over. Come down. Chapter 922. Boom! A terrifying suction force suddenly appeared. Monkey, who was standing in the air, instantly lost control of his body and fell to the ground. Without any buffer, his body was basically in a stagnant state under that powerful suction force. Not to mention his cultivation, even his thoughts were useless at this moment. A painful cry came from the big pit. Without thinking, it was obvious that it was Monkey. With just this little bit of strength, you want to live and die with me. Although it is foolish, I admire you a little. However, with just this, it is impossible for this sovereign to not be strong. As the saying goes, if you don't remove the roots, it will grow again when the spring breeze blows. This sovereign has always had a habit of not leaving trouble for himself. So die. No. Don't. With a loud bang, dust flew up and the big pit became even deeper. Monkey's miserable cry came to an abrupt end at the moment of the loud bang. After doing all this, Lin Ray pursed his lips and smiled. With a thought, he released the scarlet flame tiger and said to it, "Go, finish it quickly. Time is limited, understand?" Roar! Don't worry, Brother Lei. Leave this to me. Perhaps because it had not been out for a long time, the scarlet flame tiger's personality was especially lively. After responding, it turned into a red stream of light and instantly disappeared. Next, miserable cries rang out in the entire Dragon Tiger sect. The cries were miserable and sorrowful. Lin Ray did not set up a barrier to prevent such sounds from spreading out. Although other than Lin Ray, no one else knew what happened in the Dragon Tiger sect. Because of the miserable cries, the entire Surging Cloud City was in an uproar. These miserable cries had alerted them and also alerted the experts in the Surging Cloud City. It was a warning to the Surging Cloud City that an expert had come. Moreover, the expert had used a thunderous method to intimidate the tiger. The miserable cries did not last for long. The entire Dragon Tiger sect was silent. Everyone in the Dragon Tiger sect was stunned. Their faces were extremely pale. When the miserable cries stopped, it meant that there were no survivors in the Dragon Tiger sect. Everyone felt a cold wind blow behind their backs. To be able to exterminate a sect in the Surging Cloud City, this was enough to shake the entire city. Let's go. Within Dragon Tiger sect, the crimson flame tiger returned. With a smile on its face, it walked over to Lin Rei's side with an insufferably arrogant stride. Yes. After nodding, the red flame tiger turned into a stream of light and entered Lin Rei's body. Then, it left with Ing and Bing. The so-called coming and going without a trace was probably referring to Lin Rei and the others. However, this so-called coming and going without a trace was just Lin Rei using his own strength to raise his speed to the extreme. As for the spectators outside, they simply couldn't detect the silhouettes of Lin Rei and the others. Not long after Lin Rei and the other two left, the spectators outside felt a wave of doubt in their hearts. The sect of dragon and tiger did not make any sound, and those who were filled with curiosity wanted to go in and investigate. However, they were afraid of encountering strong martial artists, so they did not make a move until now. Tisk, should I go in or not? Hey, go on in. Maybe some strong martial artist has already left. TSK maybe. As the saying goes, wealth comes from danger. For such a big shot, they naturally don't care about the sect of dragon and tiger, so go in, we must go in. Previously, we were bullied by the sect of dragon and tiger. Now that they have received the retribution that they deserve, I must go and take a look. This way, I can get rid of the hatred in my heart. On a bustling and prosperous street, there were stalls and shops on both sides of the street. Shouts rose and fell, and it was very lively. Lin Rei, who had left the sect of dragon and tiger, was walking on the street with his two wives. They looked left and right, looking at the things that they had never seen before and thought were rare. Especially Ing and Bing. When they saw the things that they liked, they threw everything to the back of their minds and became people who were sweeping the good. Looking at the smile on his wife's face, Lin Rei, who originally wanted to act quickly, could not say anything. He sighed in his heart and temporarily threw the matter of going to Hong Lu to the back of his mind. He began to wander around. However, he did not know that the things in this dead city were really unique and rare. There were even some things that he did not recognize. Looking at these rare things, Lin Rei's heart moved and he joined the ranks. At this moment, in front of a stall, Lin Rei squatted down without a care for his image. He stretched out his hand and searched the stall. He wanted to see if he could find anything good here. Looking at the dazzling array of goods, Lin Rei's hair stood on end. He looked and looked, but in the end, he did not find anything that he liked. Moreover, Lin Rei discovered that most of the things that were displayed here were found in tombs. They all had a gloomy ghost chi. There were even some magic treasures that could store spirit chi. Because of the characteristics of the magic treasures and the gloomy ghost chi in the tombs, its nature changed greatly. It was originally a magic treasure that could store spirit chi, but in the end it turned into a vicious weapon that could store ghost chi. Of course, to Lin Rei it was useless, but to those cultivators who specialized in the ghost Tao, this thing was simply a godly existence. None of your good things were dug out from tombs. Looking at the boss, Lin Rei did not control his volume and said bluntly, Originally, the boss thought it was a big customer, but after hearing this, the boss's face suddenly darkened. A sense of anger rose in his heart. Looking at Lin Rei, the boss's eyes flashed with killing intent and he said, Young man, if you don't know, then don't talk nonsense. Do you know that you can easily get yourself killed by this? Don't tell me your mother hasn't seen you before? Also, if you don't know, then don't talk nonsense. You're trying to ruin my show. I will think that you came from some shop to find trouble. Feeling the boss's killing intent, Lin Rei was stunned. He sneered in his heart, as expected, in this dead city, there is no one who hasn't been stained with blood. A roadside stall owner has such a heavy killing intent. It seems like he has killed a lot of people. How can you say that? My husband said that, so what? Also, even if you give these things to us for free, we still have to consider whether or not we want them. It's so gloomy. One look and I can tell that it's not a righteous path. Humph. The sudden reprimand stunned Linley. The boss was stunned. The people on the street were even more stunned. At this moment, everyone's eyes were focused on Ice. At this moment, Ice had become the focus of the entire street. Good, well said. On the side, Ing clapped and cheered. As she clapped, she winked at Lin Ray. Looking at his wife and sister, Lin Ray came back to his senses. He bitterly smiled and shook his head. You too, although we can walk freely here, but look around, ah. Hearing this, the two women were stunned. They turned around and saw that all the passers-by's eyes were focused on them. The two women were dumbfounded. Let's go. Getting up, he didn't want to be entangled here. He held their hands and intended to leave the crowd. Wait. Just when Lin Ray was about to turn around and leave, a voice suddenly sounded in his mind. Suddenly, Lin Ray's figure froze on the spot. Go back, there is something I need here. Hurry up. The little dragon's anxious voice sounded in Lin Ray's mind. What? You? Facing the little dragon, Lin Ray was stunned. His expression was full of doubts. Little dragon, are you sure there is something you need here? Are you stupid? Turning his head, Lin Ray looked at the broken things behind the stall. For a moment, he began to doubt if the little dragon saw wrongly. Don't talk nonsense. There is something I need there. Moreover, this thing can help my main body. Quickly stand up and take it. Such a good thing. If it is found by others, then, okay. Without waiting for the little dragon to finish speaking, Lin Ray directly grabbed it. At this moment, Lin Ray no longer had the mood to play. The original smile on his face disappeared. Say it. That thing, I will buy it for you. Even if someone wants to snatch it, I will bring it to you. If the other party really doesn't give it to you, then kill him and snatch it later. Lin Ray's words rang in his heart. However, at this moment in the system, looking at Lin Ray's serious face, he knew that Lin Ray's words had always been very serious, especially before this matter. He knew that Lin Ray had put in a lot of effort, but even so, for so many years, he still couldn't find it. Of course, now that he found an existence that could refine the body, how could Lin Ray not be serious, how could he not be strong? But that, actually, I just felt it. You should look for it carefully. Just treat it as an experiment for you. Let's see how good you are at identifying heaven and earth treasures. You're not joking? Xiaolong's words caused Linley to be stupefied. Anyone in the know would be able to tell that even Xiaolong himself didn't know the answer. It was just a feeling. But now, he was so shameless as to experiment. Damn, why don't you go and die? Of course, despite this, Lin Ray didn't leave because of this. After all, this was a serious matter. It would be best if he could find it, but if he couldn't, it wouldn't make much of a difference. Sigh. With a sigh, his gaze fell on the stall. He suddenly released his divine sense, and began to scan the dazzling lineup of goods, hoping to find what he wanted through his divine sense. At the same time, while his divine sense was scanning, his eyes also began to scan constantly. On the side, seeing their husband like this, they were puzzled. They didn't understand. They had just said that they would leave, but now, at this moment, when the onlookers saw that Lin Ray and the other two weren't talking, they returned to their original state and went about their own business. What are you trying to do? Didn't you say that all my things here were trash? Didn't you say that all my things here were junk? Didn't you say that all my things here were taken from cemeteries, huh? What's wrong now? Seeing that Linley's gaze was constantly scanning the stall, as though he was looking for something, the shop owner immediately became unyielding. He had a look that said, "Since you're buying my stuff, you have to listen to my nagging." However, at this moment, Lin Ray couldn't care less about the shop owner who was so annoying. At this moment, he was wholeheartedly focused on finding heaven and earth treasures. Nothing, still nothing, why is there still nothing? Seeing that there wasn't the slightest bit of heaven and earth treasure aura that the little dragon had mentioned, Lin Ray couldn't help but wonder if the little dragon had made a mistake. Impossible, Lin Ray, I can't be wrong. I can feel that blazing thing. It's something that can mold my body. There must be something, hurry up and find it, or ask the shop owner, ask him if all his things are here. Okay. Seeing that the little dragon was so anxious, Lin Ray quickly responded. Then, he looked up at the shop owner and said, Shop owner, are all the things here? Did you miss anything? Or do you have more on you? F***ck, what are you trying to do? Suddenly, the shop owner's expression changed, as if he was trying to hide something. It seems like there really is something. The shop owner's expression was so obvious that if Lin Ray couldn't see it, he would have cultivated for so long in vain. You, take it out. You can set the price. Of course, it's fine as long as it's not too excessive. Since he didn't rob him openly, he could just let him say whatever he wanted. Using peaceful means before resorting to force was the way of a gentleman. No, nothing, everything is here. Buy it or leave. If you don't want to buy it, then get lost. Don't hinder my business. After saying that, the shop owner waved his hand impatiently to chase them away. 5 upper-grade divine artifacts. How about I give you these 5 upper-grade divine artifacts in exchange? 5. Hearing 5 upper-grade divine artifacts, the shop owner's expression changed and his breathing quickened. However, the instant after his excitement, he returned to his original state and shook his head to refuse. No, no, no. Hurry up and leave, or I'll call for help. 10 upper-grade divine artifacts, how about that? To increase the price, 10 upper-grade divine artifacts were nothing. Shop owner, don't push your luck. It's a virtue to know when to stop. It's not good to be insatiable. You might even lose your life. Think carefully. A murderous aura appeared. At this moment, Lin Ray had decided that if he still didn't have 10 upper-grade divine artifacts, but he wanted something, he wouldn't mind killing one more person today. Feeling the temperature around him drop, the shop owner stopped abruptly. His complexion turned pale and his body started to tremble. He seemed like he was about to lose all his strength. Seeing Lin Ray, the shop owner was extremely terrified. He wanted to refuse. However, he realized that if he didn't agree to it this time, it would not be worth it the next time. Furthermore, as a merchant that wanted to make a profit, he would usually make the correct choice. Seeing that Lin Ray was ready to attack at any moment, the shop owner grew silent and began to ponder. Hurry up. My time is limited. After 3 breaths, if I still don't hear the answer I want, then I'll give, okay? As a merchant, it must be said that the shop owner before him was very successful. At this moment, Lin Ray revealed a smile on his face. The murderous aura around him instantly disappeared. What the hell? Why did I run into a fiend like you today? As he spoke, he unwillingly took out a purple jade pendant from his bosom and handed it to Lin Ray. Scarlet Sun Jade. Chapter 923. Crimson Sun Jade? The Crimson Sun Jade is an extremely powerful treasure of heaven and earth. Understanding Lin Ray's confusion, the little dragon began to explain. The Crimson Sun Jade contains the essence of the sun. Not only that, but the quality of the jade itself is special. No one knows what it is, but if you want to reconstruct a physical body, the Crimson Sun Jade is undoubtedly the first choice. Lin Ray was very confused after hearing about the uses of the Crimson Sun Jade. He had never heard of the Crimson Sun Jade before, and the little dragon had never mentioned the existence of the Crimson Sun Jade before. Now that such a piece had suddenly appeared, and it said that it was an essential material for reconstructing a physical body, Lin Ray was not prepared for it at all. Actually, it's not easy to find a piece of this thing. The reason why I didn't mention it before was that it didn't exist here at all. Even if I went to the holy world, it would be impossible to find it, so I didn't think of it. But now that I've found it, since there's such a good material, I'll have to rethink what I said before. You also said that you're going to refine a physical body for me. Since that's the case, I'll have to use the best. Only then will I be able to show my importance, right? Lin Rei was completely speechless at the little dragon's shameless words. However, when he thought about how he was one step closer to the plan of reconstructing a physical body for him, these things were not so important anymore. All right, whatever you say, but… As if he had thought of something, he said, since the material for reconstructing a physical body has changed, then the previous plan has been disrupted. So, if you need any materials, you can tell me. Or if you come across something you need, just give me a hint. It doesn't matter if it has an owner or not, as long as it's within my ability, I'll definitely get it for you. Hearing Lin Rei's words in the system, the little dragon felt a touch of warmth in his heart. He did not say anything about Lin Rei's words. To him, Lin Rei was not only his friend, but also his disciple. From a child who didn't know anything to an ant who didn't know anything, he had watched him slowly grow from nothing to something, from a weak person to a strong person. The feelings between them had already entwined them together and could not be separated. All right, then do as you see fit. There was no gratitude because he didn't need it, and Lin Rei didn't want to hear it either. After cutting off the connection with the little dragon, he came back to his senses and looked up at the boss. A smile appeared on his face as he said, "These are the divine artifacts that I promised you. Of course, including this high-grade divine artifact ring, there are a total of 10 divine artifacts. You'd better keep this to yourself. Since you've taken my money, don't spread rumors about what happened today. If I hear about what happened today from other people's mouths, I will take back the divine artifacts before the time is up. I will also take your life. Even if you have to go to the ends of the earth, I will not rest until one of us is dead. Do you understand?" He wanted to open his mouth, but that solemn murderous aura instantly appeared, causing him to be stunned on the spot. He didn't dare to speak, and he didn't even dare to move his body. He was afraid that if he moved, his life would no longer belong to him. Looking at the boss, Lin Rei handed the ring to him. Then, he grabbed the red sun jade and left the stall with his 2 wives. They walked towards a restaurant not far away. Today's matter was mainly thanks to the 2 of them. If it weren't for them shopping, he wouldn't have the chance to find such a unique object that the little dragon said could create a physical body. Thinking about it, Lin Rei was very excited. "Husband, you." Following behind Lin Rei, her heart was filled with doubts. She didn't know what happened just now, but she knew that her husband must have obtained something that couldn't be seen. Otherwise, he wouldn't have used 10 high-grade divine artifacts as a condition of exchange. "Let's go. Let's go in and eat while we talk." Understanding the 2 of them's doubts, he said and led them into the restaurant. After walking in, they found a table by the window and sat down. "Sirs, what would you like to eat?" At this time, the waiter came up and asked, "Your signature dishes and the best wine here. I don't need any other wine." "Okay, please wait a moment." Hearing Lin Rei's order, the waiter's face was full of smiles. Because in his opinion, Lin Rei and his 2 wives were too expensive. "I'll go and rush the dishes. Please wait a moment." After saying that, he turned around and left. Whoosh! Suddenly, a big sister appeared around the 3 of them and lifted them up. Seeing this, the 2 of them were stunned and looked at Lin Rei doubtfully, wanting him to give an explanation. Looking at his children's doubts, Lin Rei opened his mouth and explained what happened before. Of course, Lin Rei didn't mention anything about the system and the little dragon. It wasn't that he didn't trust his children, but this was his life. It was also a fatal existence. He didn't want to bring danger to his children because of this matter. And hearing Lin Rei's explanation, His children nodded repeatedly, their faces were full of smiles. That's great. I didn't expect to get such a good thing in such a place. Yes. Saying that, Bing picked up the tea and said to Lin Ray, "Congratulations, husband, for getting AI bow." The sudden congratulations caused Linley to be startled. Then, he came back to his senses, and a smile appeared on his face. Today was still considered a happy day. He got the little dragon's body reconstruction item, and also solved the problem of the dragon and tiger sect. Although this little episode might be a little bloody, at least it had the effect of warning the tiger. Lin Ray believed that the appearance of the three of them was now in front of the leaders of the major forces in the Dead City. However, Linley's guess was right. At this moment, within the various major factions in the City of Death, all the people in charge were sitting on their chairs. Their faces were gloomy as they stared at the three tables in front of them. The entire scene was silent. After the Dragon and Tiger sect was destroyed in the Dead City today, this matter seemed to have grown wings. In a short while, the entire Dead City knew about it. Even now, the topic of conversation before and after meals was about the Dragon and Tiger sect's destruction. Of course, there were many versions of this matter. Some said that the Dragon and Tiger sect was not pleasing to the eye, so they destroyed it. Some said that the Dragon and Tiger sect's leader, Zhang Biao, slept with the woman of the Dragon and Tiger sect, so the Dragon and Tiger sect was angry and killed him. With regards to these rumors, only the people in the restaurants thought so. As for the internal forces, they didn't think so at all. They all knew what happened, but because of this, they couldn't help but be on guard against the three people who suddenly appeared. Think about it, the moment they entered the Dead City, they used such a thunderous method to warn the tiger. What were they trying to do? Provoke? Or insolence? They didn't care about these. They only wanted to know the purpose of Lin Ray and the other two's visit, and they wanted to send the three of them away as soon as possible. Because of the three of them being restless, they were afraid that they would be like Hu Liang, who spoke rudely and provoked the Dragon and Tiger sect. Chapter 924. The central area of the City of Death was the most prosperous place in the entire City of Death. At the same time, it was also the most central hub of the entire City of Death. To be able to have a place here meant that one was undoubtedly the most powerful existence in the entire City of Death. Among them, Hong Lu was one of them. In the entire City of Death, no one dared to be their enemy, and even more so, no one dared to offend them. Because as long as it was a cultivator, there would be a time when they needed information. If someone dared to offend them, then as long as they released a piece of news, then the person who offended Hong Lu would be hunted down endlessly in an instant. Even those who wanted to show goodwill to Hong Lu would join the ranks of the hunt. And this was also the reason why Hong Lu was able to stand firm in the City of Death. Up until now, no one dared to shake their position. Hong Lu tisk, it's indeed extraordinary. Such a huge area, I'm afraid there are only a few in the entire City of Death. At this moment, Lin Ray was standing in front of Hong Lu looking at the huge 6-story building. He couldn't help but sigh. Husband, is this huge? Yes. This doesn't even seem to be as big as the place where a disciple of our Xuanzong sect lives. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. In an instant, the two ladies didn't bother to hide their words from the crowd. Moreover, their voices were so loud that everyone on the street, as well as the people at the front of Hong Lu, focused their attention on them. Feeling everyone's gaze, Lin Ray was sweating profusely. What did they mean by saying something that didn't shock people to death? What did they mean by one wouldn't die if one didn't seek death? This was a typical example. Sister, can we not be so boastful? This isn't our territory. Although you're very strong, you don't have to be like this. Although he was thinking in his heart, he still wore a smile on his face. Looking at his two wives, he said, "Well, the two of you should watch your words next time." What do you mean by not big? Hong Lu is famous in the entire realm of the god. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here today. As he spoke, he smiled and nodded to the crowd. Then, he cupped his hands towards the guards of Hong Lu and said, "My wife is not sensible, please forgive her." As he spoke, in order to ease the awkwardness, he quickly changed the topic. "Well, how do I get there?" "Humph." Seeing Lin Rei like this, the guard coldly snorted. But since business came knocking, how could they refuse? Moreover, they were only gatekeepers and didn't have the slightest bit of power. "If you want to buy information, please come in. However, if you're here to cause trouble, then you'd better consider where you are and where you stand." After saying that, the guards returned to their original positions and stood still without saying anything. "Haha, thank you." He smiled awkwardly and politely, then turned his head and glanced at the two girls and said, "You two really don't feel comfortable if you don't make some noise. This is other people's territory, so be careful when you talk in the future." "Oh, got it." Knowing that she had said something wrong, she stuck out her tongue, looking as if she was telling the truth even though she was wrong. Sigh. "Forget it, let's go." Seeing the two of them like this, Lin Rei didn't insist and let nature take its course. He turned around and led the two of them into the Hong Tower. The moment the three of them entered the Hong Tower, they were stunned for a moment and then recovered. However, Lin Rei was still very shocked by this place. After all, the force behind it should be quite powerful to build such a huge information center in such a city. "Excuse me, what kind of information do you want to buy? As long as you can tell us its characteristics, we will definitely collect it for you in a month." At this time, a guard stepped forward and asked Lin Rei with a salute. "Really?" Hearing this guarantee, Lin Rei was a little confused. After all, what he was looking for was the origin of the Great Way of Space. Even if he went there himself, he might not be able to confirm it. Moreover, characteristics? Damn, where am I going to find the characteristics for you? For a moment, Lin Rei was in a dilemma. He only knew the origin of the Great Way of Space. As for the characteristics, he could only say, "Ha ha." However, when he saw Lin Rei's disbelief and skeptical attitude, he suddenly paused and a touch of imperceptible meaning surged into his heart. "Of course, as long as you can tell us." Lin Rei, speechless. At this moment, other than being speechless, he didn't know what to say. "You're so stupid. Just tell us the characteristics. Have there been many spatial cracks appearing out of thin air in some places recently? Or some strange things happening in some places? The more, the better. Anyway, you still have time. As long as you refine one of the origins, you should be able to break through to the Saint Realm," the little dragon said. Okay, I understand." Looking at the young man, Lin Rei repeated the little dragon's words. The young man was stunned. Then, he nodded and said, "Okay, please wait for a moment. I'll go and check if there are any characteristics you mentioned recently." "Okay," replied the young man. Looking at the back of the young man, he was a little nervous. It would be great if he could really find them. Of course, at this moment, he didn't have much hope. "Excuse me, you are?" At this moment, a voice came from behind. Turning around, he saw an old man looking at him with a kind face and expectation. Looking at him, Lin Rei frowned and asked, "You are?" Lin Rei was sure that he didn't know this old man. Moreover, he could feel that the old man's cultivation was at the early divine monarch realm. Moreover, he was in Death City. "I'm Xiaonie, the third elder of Hong Lu. Please forgive me for my presumptuousness." The third elder of Hong Lu? Looking at him, Lin Rei was slightly surprised. He didn't know why the third elder of Hong Lu was here. "What's the matter?" Excuse me, are you the senior who destroyed the dragon and tiger sect?" At this moment, Xiaonie transmitted his voice. While speaking, he kept staring at Lin Rei. He wanted to see clearly. Just a moment ago, he wanted to go out. However, when he went downstairs, he saw Lin Rei and the other two walking in. At first, he just glanced at them and wasn't sure. However, the more he looked, the more shocked he was. Because when Lin Rei destroyed Hu Liang, his appearance was remembered by others. After destroying the Dragon and Tiger Sect, his appearance was displayed in front of the leaders of the major forces in Death City. Therefore, as the third elder of Honglu, he naturally knew who he was. "Tsk, I didn't expect this matter to spread so quickly." Looking at Xiaonie, Lin Rei was stunned. He didn't admit it or refuse to answer. Hiss, Xiaonie sucked in a breath of cold air. His face was filled with shock. Although Lin Rei didn't answer him directly, he knew that the person in front of him was the one who destroyed the Dragon and Tiger Sect. Thinking of this, Xiaonie's attitude became even more humble. He didn't dare to offend the person who destroyed the Dragon and Tiger Sect. Although his cultivation was at the Divine Monarch realm, he wanted to test Lin Rei. However, when his divine sense scanned Lin Rei's body, it was like a yak entering the sea. He was speechless. Chapter 925. Senior, please head to the inner court for a chat. My master, Hong Lu, would like to get to know you. I wonder if you have the time? Xiaonie could only use please towards Lin Rei. No matter if it was Lin Rei's unyielding methods or his bottomless cultivation, he had no choice but to bow. Your master. Looking at Xiaonie, Lin Rei was stunned. Looking at Xiaonie's pleading gaze, Lin Rei smiled and nodded. Sure. That's two, but... Before Xiaonie could finish, Lin Rei continued. I still have to wait here for the information. After I get the information I want, I'll accompany you to see your master. After speaking, Lin Rei's gaze fell on the front and no longer looked at Xiaonie. He was serious. Before he got the information he wanted, he wouldn't go anywhere. In his heart, between the source information and the master of Honglu, Lin Rei leaned towards the source information. As for the master, he didn't care about him at all. Seeing Lin Rei like this, Xiaonie was stunned and then felt embarrassed. He couldn't use force and could only agree in the end. Since that's the case, senior, please wait for a moment. I'll go inform the master now. He didn't say anything and didn't look at Xiaonie. Xiaonie smiled awkwardly and then turned around and walked upstairs. At this moment, the 6th floor was where Hong Lu's master, Hong Yu, was. Besides him, no one else would come here. If there was a meeting, the elders of Hong Lu would appear here. At other times, no one would come here and no one would dare to come. At this moment, Hong Yu was sitting before the table with his brows tightly knitted together. His face was filled with irritation as if he'd encountered something bad. With a muffled bang, Hong Yu raised his hand and slapped the table. His face was filled with annoyance. Bastard! Who the hell are you? You actually dared to go against my Hong Lu. Could it be that you want to become my enemy? Suddenly, a wisp of killing intent arose. Just moments ago, he'd obtained a piece of information, and it stated that the stronghold of Hong Lu in Intonation City had been completely uprooted overnight. 136 Hong Lu disciples had been annihilated, and the state of their deaths was horrifying to the point it was unbearable to look at. Originally, the people who had killed Hong Yu did not realize it. However, the other party seemed to have deliberately provoked them. After killing Hong Yu, they hung all 136 corpses on top of the city gate. This matter was known by the Hong Lu disciples in the other cities, and they sent the news back. Thinking of Hong Lu being provoked, his dignity being challenged, Hong Yu couldn't help but feel sullen. Hong Lu had been operating in the 9th state for so many years, and no one had ever made an enemy out of them so recklessly. They had been here for so long, but now, something like this had happened. Dong dong dong. Someone knocked on the door. Hong Yu, who was in a fit of anger, frowned and raised his head. A trace of unhappiness appeared on his face. Who is it? Didn't I tell you not to disturb me if there's nothing important? Could it be that you've ignored my words? Outside the door, Xiao Nie was startled when he heard the voice from inside. Then, he bitterly smiled and said, Leader, Xiao Nie has something to report. I wonder if you have time to come out and see me. Elder Xiao Nie. Hearing the voice from outside the door, Hong Yu immediately recognized who it was. Then, Hong Yu was startled and said, Elder Xiao Nie, didn't you go out? Why are you back? Saying that, Hong Yu stood up, tidied up his messy clothes, and walked towards the door. Although he was the leader of Hong Lu, the status of an elder was only second to him. Speaking of which, the elders had a lot of power. Even he didn't dare to go against the elders. Jia. The door opened and Xiao Nie's figure appeared. Looking at Xiao Nie's current appearance, Hong Yu was startled and very confused. As the calmest existence in the elder group, there was a rare trace of anxiousness on his face, and the trace of fear in his eyes was completely exposed. Hong Yu was stunned and asked, Elder Xiao, what's the matter? Leader, someone came downstairs. I acted on my own initiative and said you wanted to see him, said Xiao Nie. What? Hong Yu frowned and revealed a displeased expression. He didn't expect Xiao Nie to be like this. However, thinking about it, Hong Yu was surprised. He couldn't figure out just what kind of existence could make Xiao Nie act like this and have him come out personally. As the leader of Hong Lu, he definitely wouldn't see someone like this. Hong Yu's displeasure disappeared and he said, Who is it to make Elder Xiao think so highly of him? Looking at Hong Yu, Xiao Nie sighed, Leader, do you still remember the destruction of the Dragon and Tiger Sect? Of course I remember. The images of those people are still on my table. Suddenly, Hong Yu was startled and looked at Xiao Nie with a dumbfounded expression. You can't be talking about. Yes, that's the person. After receiving confirmation, Hong Yu sucked in a breath of cold air and revealed a shocked expression. How could this be? Why would they come here? Hong Yu's heart was filled with doubts about Lin Rei's arrival. At this moment, he thought of many possibilities, and even the destruction of a sect appeared in his mind. Hong Yu's gaze was very complicated, and all kinds of different expressions appeared one after another. Seeing Hong Yu's change, Xiao Nie was startled. He knew that Hong Yu might be thinking too much, so he said, Tower Master, don't be nervous. I just went up and asked. That person came here for no other reason than to investigate the information he wanted. There's no other reason. Phew! Hearing this, Hong Yu was clearly relieved. However, it could still be seen that he was nervous as cold sweat dripped down from his forehead. Before Xiao Nie could say anything, Hong Yu said, All right, since that person is here, let's go take a look. I also want to see what kind of person he is to be able to destroy the Dragon Tiger Sect in such a short period of time. After saying that, he didn't wait for Xiao Nie to turn around and walk down the stairs. What an impatient temper. Just like your father. I just don't know if your personality is good or bad. Looking at Hong Yu's back, Xiao Nie sighed and casually followed. At this moment, Lin Rei, who was on the first floor, didn't know that because of his arrival, the owner of Hong Tower, Hong Yu, was quite frightened. At this moment, he was leisurely looking at everything around him. He was originally bored, so he brought his children to walk around. Looking at the decorations of Hong Tower, Lin Rei couldn't help but sigh. So rich. Such good decorations. Just the beast hides of the God Emperor realm are not cheap. Moreover, there are so many of them. As he said that, he looked at the beast hides hanging on the walls and ground and couldn't help but click his tongue. Linley was filled with admiration for this person's generosity. He believed that even the profound sect probably wouldn't be able to afford something like this. Linley might be able to afford 5 pieces of Emperor God beast hides, but based on a rough estimate, this person had to have at least 20 of them. Most importantly, This was only the first floor, and Linley wasn't sure how many there would be on the next 5 floors. Who knows, there might even be beast hides of the hierarch realm. At this moment, Lin Rei was even more curious about Hong Tower, but he was even more curious about the power behind Hong Tower. At the same time, Lin Rei couldn't help but feel sad for the demonic beasts. There were so many God Emperor realm demonic beasts, it probably couldn't be accumulated in just 1 or 2 places. Even though this was the divine world, there weren't many God Emperor realm demonic beasts in the demonic beast mountain range. Now that there were so many beast hides here, Lin Rei couldn't imagine how great the loss of the demonic beasts would be. Even Lin Rei felt that it was strange. Because of this, the demonic beasts would have a shortage of young men and old men. Just as Lin Rei was sighing and clicking his tongue, a voice entered Lin Rei's ears from behind. Of course, only Lin Rei could hear it. No one else could hear it. This one is Hong Tower's current Tower Lord, Hong Yu. May I know how to address you? Hearing this voice, Lin Rei turned around. When he saw a middle-aged man with an elegant aura, Lin Rei was stunned for a moment. Then, he smiled and said, "Ah, Lin Rei. So it's fellow Taoist Lin. Please forgive me for not coming out to greet you. Today, all the information in this humble tower is free of charge. Take it as a greeting gift from me. How about it?" Lin Rei naturally agreed. As the saying goes, if you don't take advantage of others, you're a bastard. As a human, Lin Rei didn't want to be a bastard. Then it's better to be smart than to be respectful. At this moment, Linley was no longer as cold as before towards Hong Yu, the master of Honglu. But that was all. After all, he had taken advantage of others, and he had taken advantage of them. Linley was no exception. "Fellow Taoist, you're already very kind to me." As he spoke, a smile appeared on his face. At this moment, he was sure that the person in front of him didn't have any evil intentions. At the same time, he was full of praise for Xiao Nye. After all, if he could become friends with such an expert, it would be great. As the saying goes, the more friends you have, the more options you have. No one wanted to have enemies. Fellow Taoist Lin, you see, this isn't a good place to talk. Why don't we go upstairs? Hong Yu probed. I'm waiting for information. Simple and straightforward. Looking at Lin Rei, Hong Yu was startled. He said, "It's okay. If I find the information you want, I'll send someone to send it up. How about that?" Looking at Hong Yu, Linley chuckled, then nodded. In Linley's heart, he had a very good impression of Hong Yu. After all, as the lord of a floor lord, this was already more than enough. Then, he nodded and said, "If that's the case then, I'll have to trouble you. Please." Seeing Lin Rei agree, Hong Yu suddenly made an inviting gesture and stepped forward to lead the way. Seeing Hong Yu like this, Lin Rei had a good impression of him. Looking at Hong Yu's back, he took the 2 women's hands and followed him. The moment they left, the entire Hong Tower was in an uproar. As the master of Hong Tower, Hong Yu personally came down to welcome someone. This was something that had never happened before. At the same time, everyone was secretly guessing the identity of the young man who was welcomed by Hong Yu. Some said he was a powerful cultivator, some said he was a good friend, and some even said he was his father's illegitimate son. There were all sorts of cliché versions of the story. There were all sorts of different opinions. Moreover, this matter seemed to have grown wings and instantly spread throughout the city. Seeing Hong Yu's behavior, all the major forces were shocked. Then, they sent their elders to Hong Tower to investigate. After all, Hong Tower was one of the transcendental forces in the City of Death. Now that Hong Yu, the master of Hong Tower, was welcoming someone like this, it was enough to make all the major forces pay attention. Hong Tower was very powerful. Nobody wanted them to have another powerful cultivator. To all the major forces, this wasn't a good thing. However, Lin Rei and Hong Yu didn't know about the actions of the major forces in the City of Death. At this moment, Lin Rei followed Hong Yu to a room on the 6th floor and sat on a chair. Hong Yu quickly sent someone to bring the best tea. Looking at Lin Rei's wife beside him, Hong Yu even ordered someone to bring out the golden snow fruit. Xiao Nye, who was standing at the side, was extremely shocked. Others might not know, but he knew very well that the golden snow fruit was an extremely rare treasure. Although it wasn't a high-grade fruit, nor could it increase one's cultivation or stabilize one's soul, the golden snow fruit was very sweet. It was one of the most delicious fruits in the divine world. Of course, because it was very difficult to survive, very few people were able to eat it. Even the 7 major sects were the same. Looking at Lin Rei, Hong Yu was still smiling. Fellow cultivator Lin, it's your first time in the City of Death, right? Looking at Hong Yu, Lin Rei was stunned. Then, he nodded. Yes, it's my first time here. At the side, Xiao Nye was speechless. He thought to himself, isn't this King obvious? Why did you ask such a stupid question? Of course, although he thought that in his heart, he still wore a smile on his face and said something else. House master, why don't I go order a banquet now? Let's talk while eating. Look, it's already time. Yes. Let's go to the best restaurant in the City of Death and order the best. As for the wine, let's use my precious consonance wine. Hong Yu was very supportive of Xiao Nye's suggestion. However, Lin Rei was stunned when he heard that. As a deity realm cultivator, he didn't feel hungry anymore. He wouldn't feel hungry even if it had been hundreds of thousands of years. Looking at the two of them, Lin Rei was amused. Especially when he thought of the words, "It's time to eat." However, even though he felt it was funny, Lin Rei didn't speak up to stop them. After all, they had good intentions. After Xiao Nye left, the scene fell into an awkward silence. Hong Yu was even more at a loss. He looked left and right, wanting to say something but not opening his mouth. He looked like he wanted to say something but was hesitant to do so. Looking at Hong Yu, Lin Rei felt helpless. To be honest, seeing him like this, Lin Rei couldn't help but feel anxious for him. House Master Hong, if you have something to say, just say it. Hearing this, Hong Yu was stunned. Then, he smiled awkwardly. I'm sorry. I have a question. I wonder if fellow Taoist Lin can answer it. Speak. I want to ask, how did the Dragon Tiger sect provoke you? Why did you annihilate them? As expected, after hearing Hong Yu's question, Lin Rei pursed his lips. Before Hong Yu asked, Lin Rei had already guessed it. He didn't hide it at all. Because one of them, Hu Liang, provoked me. Moreover, I gave him a chance. However, he didn't know how to cherish it and even used his status to suppress me. That's it? Hearing this, Hong Yu was stunned. Although he knew a little about it before, he still couldn't help but be shocked when he heard it from the person himself. Chapter 926. That's it. What else do you want? Seeing Lin Rei's nonchalant expression, Hong Yu's heart suddenly trembled. He subconsciously wanted to take a step back, but when he was about to do so, he realized that he was sitting on the chair and had nowhere to go. However, he quickly reacted. After all, he was the head of Hong Lu and his mental strength was great. Then why did you come here this time? Hong Yu probed again. Looking at Hong Yu, Lin Li chuckled, then explained why he had come here. The main reason I came here is to acquire the information I need. After acquiring it, I will leave. I won't stay here for too long. Oh, I see. Strangely, hearing Lin Rei's words, Hong Yu's heart inexplicably relaxed, as if the knife on his neck had disappeared. Just like that, Hong Yu no longer had a trace of vigilance against Lin Rei. Then, the two of them began to speak freely without the awkwardness and unfamiliarity from before. Time passed little by little. In the blink of an eye, the sky outside turned dark and the dishes on the table were all finished. Looking at the smile on Lin Rei's face, Hong Yu felt much more at ease. Knock knock, suddenly, just after the meal, while Lin Rei and the others were in a daze, a hurried knock on the door entered their ears. Who is it? Come in and talk. Hong Yu was very unhappy with the person who came to disturb them, but he couldn't vent his anger in front of Lin Rei. In the end, he could only speak softly. Ji. The door opened and Xiao Nye tiptoed in. He held an invitation in his hand and said, Head, someone from the Wanbao Pavilion just came to pass on a message. They said that their auction will officially start tomorrow, and they invited you to come tomorrow. They also said that this time, the auction will have a collection of very rare things and that you will definitely be interested. As he spoke, he raised his hand and handed the invitation in his hand to Hong Yu and continued, Here, this is the invitation they gave you. Wanbao Pavilion? Hong Yu was stunned when he heard Xiao Nye, and then he pondered deeply. If there was one place in the entire Death City that didn't take Hong Lu seriously, then it was none other than the Myriad Treasure Pavilion. The Myriad Treasure Pavilion was the same as the Hong Pavilion. It was a huge system with many shops, restaurants, and many other facades. Of course, this was not their main money-making project. Their most profitable project was the auction just now. It was held once every 1,000 years. Of course, this was in the past. In recent years, it had changed from 1,000 years to 500 years. Moreover, the items that were auctioned every time were very precious. Privately, he also had a slave trading market. Although the slave trading market was not listed under the Wanbao Pavilion, one could clearly find out the relationship between the two with a simple check. Looking at the post, Hong Yu took it and frowned, looking irritated. I didn't expect this guy to hold an auction again. It seems that this time they will make a lot of money. Xiao Nye's forehead was covered in sweat when he heard his master's words. However, he wasn't wrong. If it was in terms of wealth, then his Hong Lu really wasn't a match. In fact, he wouldn't even be a match for Hong Lu. Fortunately, Hong Lu's main business was information. Otherwise, there really wouldn't be a place for Hong Lu in the Death City. Sigh. I'm so worried. After complaining, he ordered, Since they are treating us, we must accept it. As he spoke, he suddenly thought of Linley, and a bright light flashed through his eyes. He turned his head to look at Linley. Fellow Taoist Linley, you heard it as well. There are many rare items in this auction. Why don't we go take a look and see if there's anything you need? If there is, then that's great. If there isn't, then we can just take it as taking a stroll. How about that? Hong Yu looked at Lin Rei with anticipation. Not only Hong Yu, but even Xiao Nye was the same. Do you want to go? Ignoring the expectant gazes of the two, he turned around and asked his two wives beside him, ignoring their gazes of anticipation. Yes, can we go? Yes, we want to go, but we are afraid of delaying our husband's business. Seeing Ying speak, Bing quickly chimed in. You want to go? Seeing the expectant looks on their faces, Linley was startled. Laughing bitterly, he shook his head. Turning his gaze to Hong Yu, he said, I heard you. Both of my wives want to go. Since that's the case, let's go take a look and see if there are any materials I want. Great. Seeing Lin Rei agree, Hong Yu almost jumped up from his chair in excitement. However, he soon noticed his own strangeness and smiled awkwardly. Well, it's decided. We will go together tomorrow. As he spoke, he turned to Xiao Nye and nodded with a face full of surprise. In fact, to him, the biggest benefit of bringing Lin Rei was to prove to the other forces in the Death City that he had formed a friendship with the expert of the Annihilation Dragon and Tiger Sect. He could use Lin Rei's reputation to deter those who had long been uneasy about Hong Lu. Okay, I will go and prepare now. After speaking, Xiao Nye turned and left. Husband, shouldn't we go back? At this time, Ying suddenly reminded Lin Rei. Yes, husband, we have been here for a day and… Seeing Ying speak, she quickly chimed in. And the information you want hasn't been delivered yet. Bing's words not only reminded Lin Rei, but also reminded Hong Yu. He was puzzled. This kind of thing had never happened before. According to the usual speed, after receiving the task, they would be able to deliver the information within 2 hours. However, after such a long time, the person who went to check the information did not come back to report. Suddenly, his body trembled. Hong Yu felt as if a monster that had been waiting for a long time was staring at him. The inexplicable fear and pressure made Hong Yu suffocate. He raised his head with difficulty. When he saw Lin Rei's cold eyes looking at him, Hong Yu suddenly realized that the beast-like gaze belonged to Lin Rei. Oh, that! Fellow Taoist Lin, please wait a moment. I will go and check it myself. Give me 5 minutes. I will definitely deliver the information to you in 5 minutes. In order to not let the newly established friendship collapse, Hong Yu smiled awkwardly. After promising Lin Rei, he used his cultivation and teleported away. Hee, it seems that husband's gaze scared Hong Yu. Watching Hong Yu disappear, Ing looked at Lin Rei and teased him with a smile. Yes, husband's gaze was too scary. If Hong Yu's cultivation wasn't a little bit stronger, he would have had a nervous breakdown. Lin Rei, listening to his two wives' comments, Lin Rei was stunned. Then, he smiled bitterly. Oh my God, I didn't. Of course, he wouldn't say that out loud. Lin Rei didn't refute the two people's words. He just waited quietly for the 5 minutes that Hong Yu promised. 5 minutes. Jiya, the door was pushed open. The gazes of Lin Rei and the other two were attracted to the door. They saw Hong Yu, who had left earlier, appear at the door. However, when he saw the doubt and uncertainty on Hong Yu's face, Lin Rei was stunned. How is it? Did you get the information? Lin Rei asked Hong Yu. With a clang, the door was closed. Hong Yu raised his head and looked at Lin Rei. He hesitated and said, I didn't find anything. But the IT department promised me that in half a month, we should be able to find the place with similar characteristics that you mentioned. You didn't find anything? Hearing this, Lin Rei frowned and looked at Hong Yu. That pair of cold eyes seemed to be able to see through Hong Yu. After a few minutes, Lin Rei withdrew his gaze. A touch of disappointment appeared on his face. It seems that you really didn't find anything. He didn't look at Hong Yu again. From his observation just now, Lin Rei was sure that Hong Yu wasn't lying. Because if a person was lying, then his expression couldn't be deceived. I'm really sorry, this is my Hong Lu's failure. In the future, I will definitely increase the surveillance. After saying that, Hong Yu quickly promised Lin Rei, Don't worry, I said half a month, so it will be half a month. I have already asked my disciples to spread the news. As long as they find the place that you described, they will immediately report it. Half a month? Hearing Hong Yu's promise, Lin Rei was stunned. Then, he smiled bitterly, but in the end, he nodded. Okay, half a month it is. With that, Lin Rei stood up and clasped his hands. If that's the case, then I will take my leave first. I will be on time tomorrow. Okay, I will be waiting for you tomorrow. He clasped his hands. After bidding farewell to Hong Yu, he brought the two girls to a restaurant not far from Li Hong Tower and stayed there. The next day arrived very quickly. However, in the restaurant, Lin Rei was currently in his room. Ing and Bing were lying on the bed, while Lin Rei was seated on a chair with his palms facing the sky. He was silently circulating the chaotic heavenly scripture. Huff! After letting out a long breath, he stopped and opened his eyes. He looked outside and saw that the sky was already bright. A smile appeared on his face. It's been a day. I should still be able to break through and enter the saints' world on the day the mission ends. Otherwise, with that, Lin Rei suddenly shook his head. He didn't want to think about those bad things. He turned to look at the two girls who were still sleeping on the bed. He was stunned and smiled bitterly. You should at least cultivate. Although he said that, his expression was very gentle. He walked to the side of the bed and patted their shoulders gently. Bing, wake up quickly. The sun is shining on your butt. Hearing the call, the two girls slowly woke up. When they saw their husband by the bed, they smiled at each other and nodded. They got up and tidied up their messy clothes. The three of them washed up and walked out of the restaurant. They walked slowly towards Honglu. Although they woke up early, there was no emptiness here. Instead, it was no different from yesterday. Under the shouts of the surrounding stalls, Lin Rei brought the two girls to Honglu, fellow Taoist Lin. Hong Yu saw Lin Rei from afar and quickly went up to greet him. Tower Lord Hong sure woke up early. Looking at Hong Yu, Lin Rei was stunned. He nodded and greeted him. You're too kind. Hong Yu smiled awkwardly and said, since you're here, let's go. Well, there aren't many people now. We can find a better place. Okay, let's go. Hong Yu nodded and led the six of them to the outside of the Wan Bao Pavilion's auction house. At the entrance, Lin Rei was stunned when he saw the words, auction house. Array? Array. Lin Rei's voice was not loud, but Hong Yu and the others were all in the God realm. They could clearly hear what Lin Rei said just now, but they were a little confused by the words array. Yes. Without looking at Hong Yu, he stared at the plaque and said, there is an array on this plaque, and the level of the array is not low. It must be at least a Grandmaster Array Master. Hiss, as he spoke, Linley's gaze turned towards the signboard. Hong Yu's heart trembled. Zone-level formation masters were people that all the major powers would fight to recruit. Even in the deity realm, they were quite rare. Let's go. While Hong Yu was still in a daze, Linley opened his mouth and strode forward. Hong Yu did not move. He ordered the people behind him in a gloomy voice, go, check if there is a Grandmaster Array Master in the Wan Bao Pavilion. You must find out. Yes, I'll go check right away. After receiving the order, the people behind him bowed and disappeared in a flash. Our system doesn't even know there is such an existence in the Wan Bao Pavilion. It seems that we really need to do something. Feeling the cold aura from Hong Yu, Xiao Nye was stunned and quickly said, yes, Tower Lord is right. Let's go. After saying that, Hong Yu led Xiao Nye in the direction Linley had left in. I told you, I followed Hong Yu here. Moreover, that person didn't have a post. Why can he enter but I can't? This voice? Hong Yu, who had just stepped through the door, heard the voice from afar and was stunned. A bad premonition surged in his heart. Hurry! Hong Yu quickened his pace and arrived at the entrance of the auction house. When he saw the people who were stopped at the entrance, he was stunned and sweated profusely. He quickly stepped forward to smooth things over. This is my post. Fellow Taoist Lin is right, he followed me here. Tower Lord Hong. So it's your friend. He raised his head to take a look at the invitation card in front of him. When he saw that the person who came was Hong Pavilion's pavilion master, Hong Yu, he immediately bowed respectfully. Since you know, then move aside. If you neglect my guests, don't blame me for not giving face to the Wan Bao Pavilion's Tower Lord. As he spoke, he inadvertently released a wave of pressure to crush the people in front of him. Boom! Thump! 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 Suddenly, the people's expressions changed. Their bodies trembled and they took a few steps back. They only stopped when their bodies touched the door frame. Tower Lord Hong, this is the Wan Bao Pavilion's territory. Aren't you being a little rude? Just when Hong Yu was full of confidence and thought that it was over, one of the people leaning against the door frame took a step forward and bowed to Hong Yu. What did you say? Looking at that person, Hong Yu's killing intent emerged. What is he doing? Slapping my face. Chapter 927. As a powerhouse, his dignity could not be violated. At the same time, face was even more important. Now that he had been stopped by a mere gatekeeper of Myriad Treasure Pavilion and even spoken to in such a manner, just where was he supposed to put his face? For a time, killing intent surged into his heart and his killing intent soared to the heavens. He casually slapped out at the gatekeeper who spoke. Powerful spiritual energy condensed into a palm that instantly appeared in front of the gatekeeper. The gatekeeper wanted to dodge, but this palm came too suddenly and his cultivation was too low. In the face of such a powerful move, he simply couldn't avoid it. Am I going to die? Looking at the huge palm filled with death energy that was about to drown him, the gatekeeper closed his eyes and relaxed his body, waiting for death to come. He knew that if a miracle didn't occur, he would undoubtedly die. But he didn't expect a miracle at all. Time slowly passed. The gatekeeper closed his eyes and waited for death to arrive. But after waiting for a long time, he still didn't feel the slightest bit of pain. He couldn't help but open his eyes. Pavilion? Pavilion Master? As he opened his eyes, an incomparably tall figure fell into his eyes. He was very familiar with this figure. Besides his own Pavilion Master, who else could it be? Myriad Treasure Pavilion Master, Lu Guiyun. His cultivation was at the peak of the late Divine Lord realm. There's nothing for you to do here. Go and treat your wounds. A voice sounded out. The gatekeeper's body fiercely trembled. He said, "Yes, this subordinate obeys." As he spoke, the people around him hurriedly stepped forward and helped him up, allowing him to walk through the door. As this scene fell into Hong Yu's eyes, the flames of anger in his heart instantly ignited. He never thought that Lu Guiyun wouldn't give him any face, all for the sake of a gatekeeper. Moreover, this gatekeeper had spoken rudely to him. Looking at Lu Guiyun, Hong Yu coldly said, "Surname Lu, you want to start a fight with me over a subordinate?" As this scene fell into Lin Rei's eyes, the interest of watching a good play surged in his heart. He pulled the two women to the side and quietly watched. "Ho, Pavilion Master Hong, it's not that I don't want to give you face, but to kill someone in front of my Myriad Treasure Pavilion, and to kill one of my people, how can you say that? Moreover, there are so many forces here today. Aren't you slapping my face?" Speaking up to this point, Lu Guiyun sneered inwardly. "Damn it, when I go back I must teach that boy a lesson. Today he helped me vent my anger." However, although he was happy and satisfied, he also had more worries, especially about Hong Yu's matter. If he didn't handle it well, it was very likely that both sides would suffer losses, and this was a scene he didn't want to see. Because he knew that once the two clans had a disagreement, it would be the best opportunity for the other forces in the Death City. They might even take over the two clans without hesitation. "House Master, why don't we put this matter on hold for now? After all, we're here to participate in the auction and fellow Taoist Lin is still waiting for us." Just when the situation had become extremely rigid, Xiao Nye, who was behind Hong Yu, hurriedly reminded him. Hong Yu was surprised by Xiao Nye's words, then he turned to look at Lin Rei and nodded. "You're right, today I'm mainly here to accompany fellow Taoist Lin." Then he looked up at Lu Guiyun. "Let's put this matter on hold for now, but don't think it's over." Hearing Hong Yu's words, Lu Guiyun was surprised. As an old rival, he knew Hong Yu very well. Normally, he would not let go of a small matter, but now he chose to let go of such a face-slapping matter. However, he didn't have time to think too much. After all, the other party had already said so. Lu Guiyun smiled and cupped his hands. "In that case, please, the auction is about to begin." He didn't even look at Lu Guiyun. His eyes fell on Lin Rei and the other two, and his tone became much gentler as he said, "Fellow Taoist Lin, let's go." "Okay." Lin Rei felt a little regretful about this ending, but when he thought about the auction, his regret disappeared without a trace. Dian Dian came to Hong Yu's side with his wife, then they slowly walked into the auction hall. However, Lu Guiyun, who was standing at the door, was confused as he watched Hong Yu and the others leave. Old Chen, go and find out who the young man and the two women beside Hong Yu are. Pavilion Master, there's no need to investigate. What? Looking at Old Chen, Lu Guiyun was puzzled. The young man beside Hong Yu is the one who destroyed the Dragon Tiger Sect yesterday, but I didn't expect that he would become a guest of honor in Hong Lu. Now that I think about it, the person that Hong Yu personally welcomed yesterday should be this person. What, it's him? Hearing this, Lu Guiyun was shocked, and his heart was in turmoil. However, the disciple that you told to go and treat his injuries stopped that young man. It is precisely because of that the matter with Hong Yu occurred. As he spoke, the person called Old Chen sighed and did not say anything else. At this moment, Lu Guiyun's face was getting uglier and uglier. He didn't expect things to turn out like this, and he didn't expect Hong Yu to go to such lengths for that young man. Thinking of this, Lu Guiyun couldn't help but hate the disciple who had been guarding the door. Now, because of a disciple, he had offended a master and Hong Lu. As a businessman, this was undoubtedly a loss. I don't want to see that disciple again. You guys can see for yourselves. Helpless, what else could they do? Lu Guiyun said to Old Chen behind him, then turned and stepped into the auction hall. The auction hall was divided into 3 floors. The first floor was the hall, the second floor was the private rooms, and also the VIP rooms. Of course, the second floor was where the rogue cultivators stayed. However, the third floor was also where the young masters and sects of Death City and the surrounding cities stayed. Of course, those who could stay on the third floor had at least 2 or 3 god emperors in their families. Otherwise, let alone entering, they would be obliterated before they could even set foot on the stairs. At this moment, Hong Yu wasn't unhappy because of the previous incident, perhaps because Lin Rei was by his side. Everyone came to the third floor under Hong Yu's lead, opened the invitation, looked at the room numbers, and found the corresponding room. With a quang dang, the door closed and everyone came to the room and sat down one by one. TSK, as expected of rich people, just the decoration of a room is so luxurious. Looking at the decoration of the room, Lin Rei couldn't help but praise. Lin Rei wasn't bragging, but the carpet that Lin Rei and the others were stepping on at this moment. This was the skin of a 9-tailed fox, and regardless of the price, although the 9-tailed fox wasn't a top-level monster beast, it could be said to be the most difficult to find in its clan. Yes, after all, they are rich, even our Hong Lu can't compare. Looking at Lin Rei, Hong Yu smiled awkwardly. Pavilion Master Hong is too modest. Looking at Hong Yu, Lin Rei smiled and said, Your Hong Lu has so many God Emperor level beast skins hanging on the first floor. Although the fur of this 9-tailed fox is precious, your fur is even more expensive. Is that so? Looking at the mysterious smile on Lin Rei's face, Hong Yu couldn't see through him and didn't know what to say, so in the end, he chose to remain silent. Dong dong asterisk. Just when the atmosphere was extremely awkward, someone knocked on the door. Looking at the door, Hong Yu swore that no matter who it was at the door, he would be very grateful. Pavilion Master Hong, fellow Taoist Lin, this one is Lu Guiyun. Sorry to disturb you. Lu Guiyun? Hearing this familiar voice, Hong Yu was taken aback and revealed an awkward expression. At the same time, he made the promise he had secretly muttered in his heart before. Turning his head to look at Lin Rei, he knew that Lu Guiyun had come here now either to laugh at him or to look for Lin Rei. In this regard, Hong Yu was more inclined to the latter choice because Lin Rei's prestige was there for all to see. Let him in. Understanding Hong Yu's meaning, Lin Rei nodded and agreed. Good. Turning his head, he looked at the door. Come in. With a creak, the door opened and Lu Guiyun's figure appeared in front of Lin Rei and the others. At the same time, seeing that everyone in the room was staring at him, Lu Guiyun smiled awkwardly and said, "Fellow Daoist Lin, I am really sorry. I just asked about what happened and it was really their fault. They have already been punished. I hope you will be magnanimous and not take it to heart." Seeing Lu Guiyun's actions, everyone was stunned, especially Hong Yu. He had never seen Lu Guiyun act like this before. "It's fine." Seeing Lu Guiyun like this, Lin Rei waved his hand indifferently and said, "You don't have to take it to heart." Yes. Looking at Lu Guiyun, Hong Yu's heart was bursting with joy. "Fellow Daoist Lu, may I know why you have come here?" Humph. Lu Guiyun really didn't want to say anything to Hong Yu, but thinking of the impact he had on Lin Rei before, he smiled and said to Hong Yu, It's nothing. The auction is about to begin, so I came here to give you a booklet of the auction items. See what you like and prepare in advance." With that, a booklet as thick as a brick appeared in Lu Guiyun's hand. Then, with a surge of his cultivation, a burst of spiritual qi rushed out and dragged the booklet in front of Lin Rei. "Fellow Daoist Lin, this is your first time here. If you see anything you like, feel free to bid for it. I, Lu Guiyun, will treat it as a gift for our first meeting. Lu Guiyun, you." Looking at Lu Guiyun, Hong Yu gnashed his teeth. Although these words didn't mean much in Hong Yu's ears, it was an obvious provocation. However, Lin Rei didn't care about this. After all, his status couldn't be bought by a small auction item. "Thank you." He nodded to Lu Guiyun and then ignored him. Instead, he handed the booklet to the two women. "Take a look and see if there is anything you like. If there is, bid for it." "Okay, we know." The two women were very talented when it came to buying things. They picked up the booklet and looked at it. As for Lin Rei, they seemed to have forgotten about him. Looking at the two women's excited faces, Lin Rei smiled and no longer said anything. He closed his eyes and waited for the auction to begin. Lin Rei closed his eyes, so Lu Guiyun didn't say anything. His purpose of coming here had been achieved, so he didn't stay. He cupped his hands to Lin Rei and then left. The room quieted down. Except for the sound of the two women turning the pages, there was no other sound. In the system, in the space where the little dragon was, Lin Rei stood in front of the little dragon and looked at him quietly. His expression was no longer as cold as before. Instead, there was a touch of gentleness. Opening his eyes and looking at Lin Rei, the little dragon was surprised and asked, "What are you doing here?" "There will be an auction in a while. I heard that there are some rare things. I thought that there might be something you need, so I came to tell you. If there really is something in a while, let me know and I'll buy it." "Oh!" Hearing this, the little dragon was surprised. Then, he nodded and said, "Okay, I know. Isn't it just an auction?" While speaking, a trace of excitement flashed in his eyes. Although he could hide it from others, in front of Lin Rei, that kind of emotion couldn't be hidden. In this regard, Lin Rei didn't say anything. Lin Rei had already seen through Little Dragon's stubbornness. "Watch out for yourself," he reminded again, then left the system in a flash and returned to his original body. Below, on the first floor of the auction, more and more people were gathering. Time passed little by little and 4 hours had passed. At this moment, the doors of the auction were closed. At this moment, the atmosphere was extremely dry. Looking at the crowd below, Lin Rei knitted his brows. "Everyone, the auction is about to begin. Please be quiet for a while, okay?" At this moment, just as the crowd was making a racket, a beautiful and pleasant voice sounded in the entire auction hall. All of a sudden, it was so quiet that one could hear a pin drop. Knock knock. A series of footsteps sounded. Everyone's eyes fell on the auction stage. Everyone wanted to see who the speaker was. Of course, the most important thing was her face. Even Lin Rei couldn't help but look up. As the saying goes, a fair and graceful woman is a gentleman's dream. This was the nature of men. At the side, seeing her husband's shining eyes, her heart ached. She snorted coldly and turned her head away. Feeling his wife's strange behavior, Lin Ray smiled awkwardly and said, "Actually, it's nothing. It's just that her voice is a little special. Also, it's not as good as our Ing and Bing's voices." Then, he looked at Hong Yu and said, "Isn't that right, Tower Master Hong?" Hong Yu was speechless. Hong Yu was speechless at Lin Ray's behavior, but he smiled and nodded in agreement. Yes, fellow Taoist Lin is right. Watch. Seeing Hong Yu's reaction, Lin Ray nodded in satisfaction. Then, he turned to Ing and Bing and smiled cheekily, completely losing his previous cold arrogance. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.